Chapter 49. The next morning, Wu Ming opened his eyes. After washing up, he went to the shop downstairs and found that Wan Siyu had already arrived. She was wearing a white floral dress, and her whole body was as light as a fairy descending to the mortal world. Her unique pure aura slowly emitted, intoxicating people. "Brother Wu, good morning," Wan Siyu greeted him. She put the newly bought potted plants on the counter and started trimming them. Screech. The brakes screeched. A pickup truck stopped in front of the pet store. Huang Samba, Mighty Bear, and Zuma Mei jumped out of the car. Wu Ming looked at Huang Samba and teased, "Your girlfriend doesn't have to go to work. She's your full-time driver every day?" Huang Samba didn't say anything. He was smiling happily. "I used to be a taxi driver. I quit and now I'm driving for this F-level beast tamer," Zuma Mei said with a smile. "Haha, I see." Wu Ming smiled and looked at the time. It was only 7:45. "You're here at the right time. Someone invited me to a private party in a valley dozens of kilometers away from the Garan Castle. I heard that it's a herb cultivation base and there's a resort there. Who wants to go?" "A private party?" Wan Siyu opened her eyes wide. "Is there good food?" Zuma Mei asked curiously. "Brother Wu, who is it? Is it dangerous?" Huang Samba was more concerned about safety. After all, he was Wu Ming's bodyguard. Of course, he had to prioritize his work. Wu Ming didn't say anything. He was wondering if he should tell the truth. "The person who invited me was the pet store's first customer. Her name is Mu Wanyan. She's the sister of Captain Mu Wanru from the Law Enforcement Center." After a moment of silence, Wu Ming chose to tell the truth. After all, Huang Samba and Wan Siyu were on his side. "Oh, then it's the gratitude of an old customer." Huang Samba showed a look of understanding. "Unfortunately, things aren't that simple." Wu Ming picked up the breakfast that Wan Siyu had bought and sat on the sofa. He took a bite and continued, "Mu Wanyan's best friend, Zhou Nana, will also be attending this private party. The resort villa we are going to this time is also under Zhou Nana's name." Hearing this, everyone looked on curiously. When Wan Siyu heard the name, Zhou Nana, she felt that it was very familiar, as if she had heard it somewhere before, but she couldn't remember it at the moment. "Zhou Nana and I had a conflict before." Wu Ming looked at Wan Siyu. "Siyu, you should remember that night when a thug in a black trench coat blocked us in the alley at night, right?" "I remember." Wan Siyu was startled, and her proud chest trembled. "The person named Zhou Nana seems to be the employer. She paid to kill Brother Wu. If that's the case, why did she still attend this party?" Wu Ming said, "Mu Wanyan said that Zhou Nana claimed to apologize to me, but this woman is full of evil tricks. I'm afraid she's plotting something." Wu Ming remembered the F-class assassin outside Yaotao ancient town. He didn't need to guess. He knew that it was Zhou Nana who paid to hire him, but because this matter involved the ghost cat, he didn't want to reveal too much. Since she's an enemy, why should she apologize? If apologizing is useful, what do we need beast tamers for? Huang Samba clenched his fists. "Brother Wu, how about I teach Zhou Nana a lesson and avenge you? That woman is not simple. Don't be impulsive." Wu Ming took a sip of soy milk. "My idea is to go to the appointment first and see what tricks she's playing. If you're interested, you can go together." "I'll definitely go. When the time comes, I'll protect Brother Wu closely." Huang Samba patted his chest and promised. "No need for personal protection. It's best to pretend that you don't know anything. Otherwise, it's easy to alert the enemy." Wu Ming spoke his mind. "When you get there, you can act according to my mood." "Okay." The three nodded in agreement. In the blink of an eye, it was 8:50. A modified bulletproof car was parked outside the pet store. The bulletproof car window rolled down. A bearded, dark-faced driver with a buzz cut shouted at Wu Ming, "Excuse me, are you Mr. Wu Ming? I'm the driver hired by Miss Nana. I'm responsible for driving you to the lakeside resort. Yes, that's me. Wu Ming turned around and waved at Huang Sanba and the others. One by one, they got into the car. Not long after, the car set off for the destination that was dozens of kilometers away. After Wu Ming and the others left, Zhang Okeyan yawned and was about to push open the door of the pet store. Only then did she notice a "Closed today" sign hanging on the door. What the hell? They're not here. Zhang Okeyan kicked the glass door in frustration. She got into a sports car and left Nanwan Street. Before 9:30, Wu Ming had arrived at the destination. This was a beautiful valley. The surrounding mountains were surrounded by high-voltage electric walls that were 20 meters high, preventing beasts of Class F and below from climbing over. The valley within the walls had been transformed very well. In the middle was a meandering lake that was as flat as a mirror. There were many herbal fields around the lake where a large number of fragrant herbs were planted. In the middle of the lake was a large manor that covered an area of dozens of acres. All kinds of entertainment and sports facilities were complete. As soon as the car door opened, Wu Ming heard Mu Wanyan's voice. "Mr. Wu Ming, you're finally here." Wu Ming got out of the car and saw two beautiful women standing not far away. One of them was a young and beautiful girl who was dressed in a Gothic lowly-style dress. A little white fox was lying on her shoulder. It was Mu Wanyan. Next to her was Zhou Nana, who was wearing a tight red dress that accentuated her proud figure. She had exquisite makeup on her face, which made her look coquettish and charming, just like a rose with thorns. Seeing Wu Ming, Zhou Nana bent down, revealing her proud snow-white chest. She smiled and said, "Mr. Wu Ming, I apologize for my previous impulse. Please forgive me." If there were no thugs in the alley and no assassination attempt outside Yaotao ancient town, Wu Ming might really be moved by this sincere apology. But Wu Ming, who knew Zhou Nana's sinister character, was very clear that her current actions were just a show. However, Wu Ming was also acting. He deliberately stepped forward and held Zhou Nana's soft shoulders with both hands. He helped her up and pretended to be very embarrassed, saying, "Miss Nana, why would I be angry over the previous small matter? In fact, I have already forgiven you." As he spoke, Wu Ming patted Zhou Nana's shoulder. His hand inadvertently swept across her proud chest, which made Zhou Nana so angry that she wanted to swallow him alive. Huang Sanba, Wan Xiu, and Zuma Mei looked down and pretended as if nothing had happened. Their acting skills were superb. Only the naive and sweet Mu Wanyan couldn't see the subtle relationship between them. She thought that Wu Ming and Zhou Nana had already buried the hatchet and happily clapped her hands. "Boss Wu Ming, Nana, it's really great that you can do this. Let's go, I've prepared a sumptuous lunch in the resort's banquet hall. Today you must eat happily." Mu Wanyan was like a carefree lark, skipping in front, completely unaware of the wonderful confrontation that had already unfolded behind her. Chapter 50. I thought Mr. Wu Ming was the only one who came. Zhou Nana stuck close to Wu Ming, revealing a seemingly charming but cold smile. She glanced at Huang Sanba, then looked at the mighty bear. She thought to herself that Wu Ming was really cautious. He even brought along an F-grade beast tamer. Woof woof woof. On the ground, Little Tyrant was running while breathing fire. Zhou Nana glanced at Little Tyrant discreetly, then smiled seductively at Wu Ming. "This puppy is really cute. Is it Mr. Wu Ming's pet?" "Yes, this is my only pet. It can breathe fire. It's quite cute, right? But don't be careless. Underneath its cute and beautiful appearance, there could be countless dangerous things that can bite people," Wu Ming said meaningfully. The ghost cat was his backup plan. Wu Ming wouldn't expose it. To the public, Little Tyrant was his only pet. It was very confusing. Mu Wanyan couldn't understand the meaning behind his words. She only teased Little Tyrant from time to time, thinking that it was too cute. However, whenever she wanted to carry Little Tyrant, it would nimbly dodge away, as if it didn't want to be carried by her. Zhou Nana, on the other hand, understood the meaning behind Wu Ming's words. He's scolding me in a roundabout way. It seems that he dared to come because of Huang Sanba, the mighty bear, and this little black puppy that looks like an F-grade pet. It seems that, if I want to kill Wu Ming, I have to think of a way to get rid of these people who are in my way. This thought flashed across Zhou Nana's mind. Soon, the few of them entered the magnificent banquet hall. Zhou Nana stuck to Wu Ming's side the whole time, talking and laughing. She looked like she had truly repented, and had even become his good friend. Mu Wanyan was very happy to see this. She didn't know that other than herself, everyone else was acting. Raising her head, Mu Wanyan revealed her snow-white swan neck. Looking at the big clock, she said in surprise, "Oh, it's already 10 o'clock. But the luncheon hasn't started yet. Boss Wu Ming, do you want to sit down first or take a look around here?" "Let's look around first," Wu Ming replied. He wanted to stroll around the medicinal herb garden and see if he could obtain some evolution points. After all, the medicinal herbs belonged to Zhou Nana. It would be a waste if he did not take the evolution points. "Then let me lead the team." Zhou Nana walked in front, opened the side door of the manor's banquet hall, and led everyone into the medicinal herb garden on the mountain. A rich medicinal fragrance assaulted their nostrils. Wu Ming caressed a blood-colored cold scarlet grass and discovered that it had converted 0.1 evolution points. He became happy and even touched the surrounding medicinal herbs, easily obtaining 1 evolution point. Afterwards, he raised his head and looked at the medicinal herb garden that covered the entire mountain. His pupils flickered with excitement. If he converted all of them, he would obtain at least 8,000 evolution points, if not 10,000, right? Unfortunately, it was only a tour. Wu Ming could only walk while quietly converting the evolution points from the medicinal herbs he passed by. His harvest was not much. These medicinal herbs are not bad. In order to convert as many evolution points as possible, Wu Ming purposely took a detour around the medicinal herb garden and converted all of the medicinal herbs he passed by. At first glance, these medicinal herbs did not look any different from before. However, they had already lost their medicinal value and needed to be nurtured for a period of time before they could be used as medicine. At that time, he could convert them into evolution points. Wu Ming also thought of this point. If he could contract a medicinal herb garden, wouldn't he be able to convert a certain amount of evolution points every once in a while? Unfortunately, this idea was not easy to realize. For example, the medicinal herb garden that was protected by a high-voltage electrical grid would require at least 100 million to operate. With Wu Ming's current wealth, he could not do it for the time being. Moreover, the efficiency of converting evolution points was not as fast as going out of the city to kill fierce beasts. Not long after, Wu Ming obtained 200 evolution points. At this time, they had already strolled around the medicinal herb garden for half an hour. Zhou Nana swayed her slender waist as she walked to Wu Ming's side. She deliberately staggered and said, I'm a bit tired. How about we go back and eat breakfast?" In the medicinal herb garden, Huang Sanba, Mighty Bear, and Little Tyrant were all near Wu Ming. Zhou Nana did not have the opportunity to make a move. Thus, she decided to return to the banquet hall first and continue her assassination plan. "I still want to stroll around the medicinal herb garden," Wu Ming casually said. Mu Wanyan smiled and said, "Boss Wu Ming, we can eat our fill before coming back. It's still early anyway. Right? How about we go back to the Garan Castle after we eat afternoon tea? My little white said that the evolution food you produce is too good. I want to buy some more." "That's fine." Wu Ming nodded. Everyone quickly returned to the banquet hall. The village chef quickly finished cooking and placed dozens of plates on the large round table. The smell of food permeated the air. "Oh, it's delicious." Huang Sanba ate a bear paw and praised. The mighty bear sat on a special chair and watched Huang Sanba eat the bear paw with a strange look in its eyes. Zuma Mei and Wan Siyu, who were sitting on the side, understood right away. They burst into laughter, then patted Huang Sanba's back and rolled their eyes at him. Ah! Huang Sanba had almost forgotten that his pet was also a bear. That was why he reluctantly pushed the half-eaten bear paw to Wu Ming, who was not far away. Looking at the bear paw that looked as if it had been bitten by a dog, Wu Ming pointed at himself and asked with a strange look, "Huang Sanba, are you sure this is for me? Brother Wu, pack it for me. When we go back, I will secretly heat it up when the bear isn't paying attention," Huang Sanba said in a low voice. Roar! The mighty bear heard the noise and was so angry that it broke the special wooden chair. It ran out of the banquet hall and sat by the lake. It stretched its 2 huge bare legs into the lake and looked depressed, as if it had nothing left to live for. Woof, woof, woof! Little Tyrant ran out with a roasted lamb leg in its mouth to play with the mighty bear. "Huang Sanba, aren't you going to play with the mighty bear?" Wu Ming urged. Huang Sanba scratched his head, embarrassed. He picked up a big plate of roasted lamb leg and gave it to the mighty bear. Zhou Nana, who was eating a piece of dessert elegantly, looked at the only 2 ordinary people left beside Wu Ming, Wan Siyu and Zuma Mei. Her expression didn't change, but in her mind she had a vicious plan. "I'm going to touch up my makeup." Zhou Nana swayed her slender waist and walked past Wu Ming, bringing a strong fragrance with her as she walked to the side of the banquet hall. In a room at the end of the corridor on the 2nd floor, Zhou Nana opened a metal box and saw a colorful triangular-headed venomous snake inside. This was not an ordinary snake. It was a rainbow life-taking snake with an F-grade venom. Even if it was an elephant, it would die instantly if it was bitten by it. Under normal circumstances, the rainbow life-taking snake lived in the wilderness where there were no people. Moreover, it had to be surrounded by mountains, rivers, and a large amount of medicinal herbs. This valley just so happened to meet the conditions for the rainbow life-taking snake to exist. "Who would have thought that I was the one who paid for this?" Zhou Nana said in a cold voice. The human and the snake stared at each other. At this moment, the 2 figures seemed to overlap, turning into the world's most vicious hunter. Chapter 51. The rainbow deadly snake in the metal box did not attack Zhou Nana. That was because this poisonous snake was a pet trained by a professional F-class assassin outside the Garan castle. The assassin was waiting on the mountain nearby. Last night, Zhou Nana had already met this F-class assassin and obtained the rainbow deadly snake from him. She could give it temporary orders. Hibernate and kill the target. Remember, it must be disguised as an accident. Zhou Nana gave the order and released the rainbow deadly snake. She let it follow the water pipe to the herb garden. Like a deadly assassin, it calmly hibernated. Then, she touched up her makeup and returned to the banquet hall. Zhou Nana did not know that there was a completely invisible figure in the dark watching her every move at all times. The figure also reported everything that happened in the room to Wu Ming. In the banquet hall of the villa, Zhou Nana looked at Wu Ming, who was being fed by Wan Siyu. She smiled as if she was looking at a dead person. "Mr. Wu Ming, I'd like to propose a toast to you." Zhou Nana held the wine glass in her hand and wrapped one arm around Wu Ming's neck. She breathed out fragrant air and looked at him with a charming expression. This was a farewell toast. Cheers. Wu Ming clinked his goblet with hers and drank it in one gulp. Huang Sanba, Mighty Bear, and Little Tyrant were at the lakeside, more than 100 meters away. Zhou Nana saw this and knew that the opportunity had come. She said, "The design of this banquet hall is really bad. It actually feels a little stuffy. How about we walk along the lakeside and get some fresh air?" Mu Wanyan nodded repeatedly. Okay." Wu Ming smiled. He had already guessed that Zhou Nana was going to make a move. After a moment of silence, he said, "Let's walk around the herb garden. As a trainer, I'm very interested in Miss Zhou Nana's herbs. I hope there will be a chance to buy them in the future." "There will definitely be a chance." Zhou Nana nodded with a smile. On the surface, she was smiling, but Zhou Nana was laughing sinisterly in her heart. She thought to herself, buy medicinal herbs? After a while, you can only go to the netherworld to buy it from the king of hell. After a while, a few people walked around the lake with wine bottles and glasses. On the left was the herb garden, and on the right was the lake. Under a stalk of medicinal herb, the rainbow life-taking snake smelled Wu Ming's aura. It stuck out its purple tongue and quietly crawled toward Wu Ming. It was looking for a suitable opportunity to pretend that Wu Ming had stepped on its tail and counterattacked. However, the rainbow life-reaping snake did not know that there was a completely invisible and terrifying figure beside it, who was looking down at everything with a pair of sharp eyes. On the ground, Ghost Cat walked gracefully. There was no sound, no shadow, no footprints, and no fluctuations in the air. All traces were invisible. It followed beside the rainbow life-taking snake like a wise god watching a clumsy child playing with toys. It could stop or change everything that was about to happen at any time. Through the soul contract, Wu Ming knew about the impending danger. However, he did not show any abnormal expression. Instead, he pretended that nothing was wrong. He drank a little wine and talked and laughed with Wan Xiu, Mu Wanyan, and Zuma Mei. At this time, Mu Wanyan walked to Wu Ming's side and asked curiously, "Boss Wu Ming, other than the F-grade evolutionary food, what other evolutionary food do you have?" Zhou Nana thought to herself that things were not good. She walked forward and grabbed Mu Wanyan's arm from the left, saying, "Yen Yen, why are you in such a hurry? You didn't wait for me." Saying that, Zhou Nana deliberately walked slower so that they were about 3 meters away from Wu Ming. Zuma Mei and Wan Xiu walked side by side at the back. The lake reflected the figures of the 5 people. Wu Ming was at the front. Zhou Nana and Mu Wanyan were in the middle. Wan Xiu and Zuma Mei were at the back. "Hey, you guys, wait for me." On the other side of the lake, Huang Sanba sat on the mighty bear's shoulder and ran towards them with Little Tyrant. Seeing this, Zhou Nana thought to herself that things were not going well. If the rainbow life-taking snake did not make a move now, there would not be a suitable opportunity. She gradually became anxious. On the ground, the rainbow life-taking snake was crawling and staring at Wu Ming. It silently came to the grass and was about to be stepped on by Wu Ming. At that time, it would bite Wu Ming to death and make it look like a perfect accident. However, just as Wu Ming stepped over the rainbow life-taking snake, it tried to pounce on Wu Ming but found that its head was pressed down by something and it could not move. Wu Ming walked in front, the corners of his mouth raised. Zhou Nana, who was walking at the back, did not know that the rainbow life-taking snake was on the grass in front of her. It was pressed down by an invisible figure and could not move. She held Mu Wanyan's arm and walked over. Suddenly, Zhou Nana felt as if she had stepped on something slippery and hard. She instinctively lowered her head and realized that the familiar rainbow deadly snake was biting her calf. The purple-red aura spread across her body. She trembled and lost all signs of life in an instant. Then, she fell on her back. "Nana, what's wrong?" "Ah, there's a poisonous snake." Mu Wanyan saw the colorful life-taking snake biting Zhou Nana and found that it was looking at her with its cold eyes. It gave people a feeling of fear and trepidation. "There's a snake. Oh no. Help." Wu Ming, Zuma Mei, and Wan Xiu had all noticed the rainbow life-taking snake. They screamed but did not dare to go closer. Mu Wanyan was so anxious that she burst into tears. She gave an order to the little white fox on her shoulder. "Little White, kill this snake." Whoosh! The little white fox burst out with the speed of a Class F and landed on the ground in an instant. It slapped away the rainbow life-taking snake and landed right near Wu Ming. Hiss, hiss! The rainbow life-taking snake saw Wu Ming and immediately tried to bite him. The ghost cat, which was hiding in the dark, was about to hold the snake down. However, the little white fox had already run over and pinned the rainbow life-taking snake down with its 2 front paws. Then, the little white fox bit off the rainbow life-taking snake's spine. Bang, bang, bang! The rainbow life-taking snake swung its body on the ground like a steel whip. It could even break a tree trunk that was as thick as a thumb. Everyone was so frightened that they quickly retreated. Woof, woof, woof! Little Tyrant arrived at the top of its speed. It spat out a mouthful of hot flames on the rainbow life-taking snake, which was charred black. It died in a few hits. Nana, are you okay? Mu Wanyan's heart was beating rapidly. She quickly placed Zhou Nana on the grass and checked her breathing. She found that she was already dead. There were no signs of life. No, I don't want you to die. Nana, tell me, this is just a dream. How could this be? Mu Wanyan was crying. Wu Ming stood nearby and watched. He was sure that her sadness and helplessness came from the bottom of her heart. This meant that she did not know about Zhou Nana's assassination plan from the beginning. Therefore, Mu Wanyan was innocent. It was an accident. We couldn't do anything about it. My condolences. Wu Ming put his hand on Mu Wanyan's shoulder and comforted her. Sob, sob, how could this be? Mu Wanyan broke down mentally. She fell into Wu Ming's arms and cried. Zuma Mei and Wan Xiu looked at each other and shook their heads. Huang Sanba and the mighty bear were still on their way. Wu Ming hugged Mu Wanyan gently. He looked at the staff in the resort who heard the news and came over. His expression was complicated. There was relief, sorrow, and a hint of helplessness. Chapter 52. When Wu Ming stepped over the rainbow life-taking snake, the ghost cat used its claws to press down on the rainbow life-taking snake's head. Therefore, Wu Ming was not bitten. When Zhou Nana passed by, she was unlucky and happened to step on the rainbow life-taking snake's back. The ghost cat saw the opportunity and released its claws. The rainbow life-taking snake was enraged and mistook Zhou Nana for Wu Ming and bit her. After that, Zhou Nana died. To Wu Ming, this was a very good outcome. Although he did not know about Zhou Nana's other dealings, Wu Ming at least knew that Zhou Nana was a sinister person who hired assassins to assassinate him. Now that she had reaped what she sowed, it was karma. And now, the rainbow life-taking snake's spine was bitten by Little White Fox and burned to death by Little Tyrant's flames. All of this was an accident no matter how one looked at it. Wu Ming recalled today's dangerous experience with lingering fear in his heart. Fortunately, he had the elegant hunter ghost cat. Otherwise, when faced with today's deadlock, he would not have had the chance to escape, let alone get rid of Zhou Nana. CEO. What happened? The staff finally arrived at the scene. Looking at the weeping Mu Wanyan, the burnt rainbow life-taking snake on the ground, and the dead Zhou Nana on the ground, he felt as if he had been struck by lightning and almost fainted. Nana accidentally stepped on a venomous snake and was bitten to death. Sob, sob, it's all my fault. Why did I have to organize a gathering in the wild? If it was in Garan Castle, this would not have happened, Mu Wanyan said as she cried, her voice intermittent. CEO is dead? When the staff saw Zhou Nana's body, he was so shocked that he fell to the ground. Wu Ming gently patted Mu Wanyan's back and said to the staff, who was sitting on the ground in a daze, "Call the law enforcement team over." The staff member swallowed his saliva and hurriedly called the relevant personnel. As for the scene, it was temporarily protected. Wu Ming coaxed the crying Mu Wanyan. Zuma Mei and Wan Xiu stood at the side, not knowing what to say. Little Tyrant and Little Bai Hu laid on the ground and hissed at the still struggling rainbow life-reaping snake. They were on guard against it reviving and laying its murderous hands on everyone. Even though the rainbow life-taking snake was already dead, it was still a venomous snake. Its muscles had not completely lost their vitality, and it could still twitch reflexively for a while. Therefore, Little Tyrant and Little White Fox thought that it was still alive. Huang Sanba and Mighty Bear rushed to the scene. Looking at Zhou Nana, who was already dead, Huang Sanba could not help but gasp. What happened? Huang Sanba displayed his superb acting skills. Zuma May whispered into his ear and roughly explained what happened. So she stepped on a venomous snake and was bitten by it. She died on the spot. What a tragedy! Huang Sanba sighed. He stared at the tree trunks that were broken by the rainbow life-taking snake and realized that this was definitely a venomous snake of the level of a dire beast. It was very scary. In a place like this, dire beasts rarely appeared. After all, a herb garden worth hundreds of millions and a resort villa would definitely have security guards and patrols to ensure that there were no dangerous elements inside. But now, a dire beast appeared here. This was a little abnormal. Looks like this venomous snake was used by Zhou Nana to harm Brother Wu. Unfortunately, for some reason, it died. That's lucky. This was what Huang Sanba thought in his heart. Half an hour later, the enforcement team arrived at the scene. The team leader, Mu Wanru, wore a pair of bulletproof high heels made of dire beast skin. She stepped on the stones by the roadside and frowned slightly as she observed the scene. Noticing that Mu Wanyan was also there, Mu Wanru asked coldly, "Sister, why are you here?" "I'm here for the party." "Sister, why are you here?" Mu Wanyan wiped her tears and bit her lips as she stammered. "I'm the team leader of the enforcement team. Of course, I'm here to investigate something like this." Mr. Wu Ming, you're here too." Mu Wanru was surprised to see Wu Ming. Still, she prioritized the investigation. She let out her pet, the water elemental, to clean up the scene and then picked up the dire beast snake on the ground. After a moment of careful observation, Mu Wanru came to a conclusion. That was a dire beast snake. It was a dire beast, very dangerous. "Show me the surveillance footage," Mu Wanru said to the staff. Soon, Mu Wanru opened the surveillance footage on her laptop. She saw Wu Ming and the others walking along the path by the lake, talking and laughing. There didn't seem to be any hatred. Then, they arrived at the scene of the crime. The surveillance camera was located at a high position and it was a super high-definition camera. Even though they were 200 meters away, they could still see the dire beast snake on the grass by the roadside. At this moment, Wu Ming took the lead and stepped over the dire beast snake. On the screen, the dire beast snake didn't attack. A few seconds later, Zhou Nana and Mu Wanyan walked by. Unfortunately, Zhou Nana was walking on the left side of Mu Wanyan, close to the grass. Her left foot stepped on the dire beast snake. The snake bit back. Zhou Nana was dead. Mu Wanru watched the video and found nothing wrong with it. "This should be an accident," Mu Wanru announced the conclusion. Hearing this, Wu Ming's expression was indifferent, but his heart was relieved. What happened today was considered an accident. That way, there wouldn't be too much trouble to deal with afterward. After all, once it was discovered that it wasn't an accident, the ghost cat could be exposed. That would be detrimental to Wu Ming's safety. He didn't want to expose the ghost cat unless it was absolutely necessary. After the test results came out, Mu Wanru arranged for people to clean up the scene. Wu Ming and Huang Sanba sat in a pavilion in the resort villa. They looked at Zhou Nana, who was sent to the funeral car, then looked at the dire beast snake that was sealed by Mu Wanru and put into the trunk of an off-road vehicle. They realized that this matter was over. "Sister, I still have business to attend to. I'll go back to the city first." Mu Wanru walked over with her slender waist. Her eyes fell on Mu Wanyan. "Since you and Mr. Wu Ming are friends, then go back with them." "Okay." Mu Wanyan nodded. Seeing Mu Wanru drive away, Wu Ming also stood up, looked around and said, "We should go back." The group got on the modified bulletproof bus and returned to Garan Castle. On a mountain a few kilometers away from the resort villa, a tall man wearing a leather jacket was leaning against a tree. He looked through binoculars at the bulletproof bus that was gradually disappearing from his sight. He gnashed his teeth in anger. "Damn it! My colorful life-reaping snake! Although I don't know why I killed the wrong target, those two's pets dared to kill my beloved dire beast snake. You must die." The man in the leather jacket memorized the faces of Mu Wanyan and Wu Ming. As far as he was concerned, the dire beast snake was killed by Mu Wanyan's pet, Little White Fox, and Wu Ming's pet, Little Tyrant. He would have his revenge. Chapter 53. The leather-jacketed assassin was furious. When he first met Zhou Nana, he swore that there would be no problem with the assassination. But his employer died. What the F***ck is going on? The more he thought about it, the angrier he got. This assassination was a stain in his career as an assassin. Not only did his colorful life-taking snake die, but he also killed his employer. If this spread out, how could he survive in the assassin world? Thinking of this, the leather-jacketed assassin narrowed his eyes. Not only did he hate Mu Wanyan and Wu Ming, but he hated Zhou Nana even more. If Zhou Nana did not make the assassination look like an accident, this would not have happened. She could have just let him bring the colorful life-taking snake into Garan Castle and let the snake bite Wu Ming in the middle of the night. Wouldn't that have been the end of it? Ha, stupid employer. It's all your fault for making such a stupid plan. You killed my colorful life-taking snake. You deserve to die. The leather-jacketed assassin sneered. He jumped on the off-road motorcycle and went to a cave dozens of kilometers away. He walked in and arrived at a slightly cold underground cave. This was the base of his assassin organization. Hey, isn't this Snakeskin? You've completed your mission? A woman with short red hair and tattoos on her chest walked over and said with a fake smile. Honging, what does my mission have to do with you? Snakeskin snorted and walked into an underground hall. He bowed to a tall figure sitting on a sofa with his back facing everyone. Boss, I failed my mission. The boss smoked a cigar and blew out a smoke ring without saying anything. Snakeskin bent over and felt cold all over, as if he had been thrown into an ice cellar. His scalp was numb. After a long time, the boss said, "Don't do it again." Yes. Snakeskin left silently and wiped his sweat. After coming to a secret room, Snakeskin opened a transparent glass box and took out a dark green praying mantis the size of a cup. A bespectacled old man walked over and said, "Leather Snake, I heard that the rainbow life-taking snake is dead? We ran into 2 F-rank pets and were surrounded," Leather Snake said, biting his teeth. "Then you can sign a contract with this blade mantis and deduct 150,000 points from it. Give it the most suitable F-class evolutionary food and make it your new partner," the old man said. "Thank you, Professor." Leather Snake took the blade mantis and walked out of the secret room. 10 minutes later, Snakeskin stood in front of a tree. Blade mantis attack. Whoosh. The dark green praying mantis that had been lying on Snakeskin's shoulder suddenly jumped out, leaving an afterimage in the air as it waved its sharp blade lightly. Gotcha! The tree that was as thick as a person was cut down by the blade mantis. The cut surface was smooth and it felt good to the touch. Speed food is still more suitable for blade mantises. Snakeskin smiled. This F-rank blade mantis had an F-rank talent called Blade. Since it was already an adult, this talent had been developed to the limit. The sharpness of the blade was comparable to that of super alloy steel. It could even cut through ordinary steel. In order to increase its agility, Snakeskin fed the blade mantis a F-rank speed food to make up for its disadvantage in speed. Time to take revenge. Snakeskin put away the blade mantis and rode the off-road motorcycle back to Garan Castle. Nanwan Street. The bulletproof car stopped in front of the pet store. "Finally, I'm back." Wu Ming opened the door and sat on the sofa, drinking herbal tea. He was very comfortable. Mu Wanyan held the little white fox in her arms and asked Wu Ming, "Mr. Wu Ming, do you have any F-rank evolution food that is suitable for Little White?" "Yes." Wu Ming stretched out his fingers. "Speed, defense, and self-healing. Currently, these are the 3 types of evolution food for sale. I have other types of evolution food, but I don't have enough materials to make them. There were countless types of evolution food in the system store. However, they all needed to be purchased with evolution points. Besides, even if he bought the recipe, Wu Ming didn't know if he could gather all the materials in Garan Castle. Defense and self-healing? Mu Wanyan widened her eyes in surprise. Can you tell me more about the specific effects? Wu Ming nodded and said, F-rank defensive food. After using it, the pet's defense can be increased to the level of super alloy. F-rank self-healing food can give the pet a certain amount of self-healing ability and quickly recover from injuries. I want all of them, Mu Wanyan said excitedly. She was very interested in these two types of evolution food. Moreover, the little white fox was also very interested, especially the self-healing ability. The store doesn't have any stock right now. I'll go to the super affordable store tomorrow to buy some materials and then make them. But the price is high. Are you sure you want to buy them? Wu Ming looked at Mu Wanyan up and down. He remembered that Mu Wanyan had to grit her teeth before she could even buy 100,000 pet coins. At the moment, it might not be realistic for her to buy the more expensive F-rank self-healing food. I have money now. With that said, Mu Wanyan looked downcast. After Zhou Nana asked her to invite Wu Ming to the lakeside resort, she gave her a bank card with 1 million pet coins. Therefore, at the moment, Mu Wanyan had enough money. However, when the money was mentioned, she couldn't help but think of Zhou Nana, who had been bitten to death by the colorful life-reaping snake. Okay. The lowest price for the defensive food is 100,000 per piece, and the lowest price for the self-healing food is 200,000 per piece. In total, it will be 300,000, Wu Ming said. Then I will come back tomorrow. Mr. Wu Ming, goodbye. Mu Wanyan left the pet store with the little white fox in her arms. After she left, Wu Ming told Huang Sanba and Zuma Mei to go to the super affordable store to buy 10 sets of materials and put them on the counter. Wan Xiu skillfully sorted the materials and then asked Wu Ming to make them into 3 sets of F-rank speed food, 3 sets of F-rank self-healing food, and 4 sets of F-rank defensive food. At the moment, it was time to get off work. Brother Wu, I'm leaving now. Wan Xiu threw away the garbage for the day and went back to her rented apartment with a small bag and a takeout. Let's go. Huang Sanba, Zuma Mei, and the mighty bear got into a pickup truck that was parked on the side of the road and left the pet store. Wu Ming ordered takeout and didn't go to bed until 10 o'clock in the evening. Nanwai Street. In an empty cafe. Pai Shi sat on a chair and secretly let out the blade mantis. Through the camera tied to the blade mantis's head, Pai Shi could see what was happening in real time through his phone. After doing some scouting in the afternoon, Pai Shi decided to kill Wu Ming first because he was Zhou Nana's target. As for Mu Wanyan, he could save her for later. The street lights were dim at night. The blade mantis crawled silently and finally reached the window of Wu Ming's bedroom. The sharp blade gently drew a circle and a bowl-sized hole appeared in the window, big enough for the blade mantis to crawl in. Through the camera, Pai Shi saw Wu Ming sleeping on the bed. Through the pet contract, he commanded the blade mantis to make a move from a distance. The cold blade was raised and aimed at Wu Ming's neck, ready to cut. Chapter 54. Snake Skin watched through the camera. He grinned hideously as if he could foresee Wu Ming's head being separated from his body. He picked up a cup of coffee and took a big gulp. When he lowered his head again, the screen went black. Is the battery dead? Snake Skin scratched his head. He picked up his phone and fiddled with it. The phone still had battery. It seemed that the camera was broken. Blade Mantis, come back. Snake Skin ordered the Blade Mantis that was still alive through the pet contract. However, he did not know that on the deserted street, an invisible cat was holding a dying dark green praying mantis in its mouth. It was slowly approaching with elegant steps. Snake Skin paid the bill and left the coffee shop. He went to a forest, ready to meet up with the Blade Mantis and leave. Hey, it's here. Snake Skin saw the Blade Mantis. However, the blade mantis didn't walk over. Instead, it floated in the air and floated toward Snake's skin. It was strange. What's going on? Snake's skin rubbed his eyes. Then, he saw the blade mantis fall to the ground. It twitched a few times and then stopped breathing. It's dead. Snake's skin suddenly felt a chill run down his spine. Puff. The next moment, Snake's skin covered his neck. His eyes were wide open as he knelt on the ground. He wanted to say something but no words came out. Bang! He fell to the ground dead. 10 minutes later, in the bedroom on the second floor of the pet store, Wu Ming sat on the sofa, drinking a cup of coffee. Transforming an experienced rank F blade mantis gave me 11 evolution points. Not bad. But, why do people keep trying to assassinate me recently? Logically speaking, Zhou is already dead. Could it be that the assassin organization still won't let me off? Are they still trying to kill me? Wu Ming frowned. Meow. The ghost cat came back. It sat on the bedside table, elegantly licking its paws and combing its fur. It was always so calm, like the coldest killer in the world. The next morning, Wu Ming turned on the television. Here's a piece of morning news for you. A registered F-rank beastmaster was seen dead in the forest near Nanwan Street in the early hours of the morning. Initial estimates are that he was killed by a terrifying ferocious beast. Citizens, please take care of yourselves and don't leave your homes alone after 10 at night. Wu Ming put down the remote control. The assassin was discovered. Wu Ming was not worried. Paper couldn't wrap fire, and this matter couldn't be kept a secret. However, with the ghost cat's invisibility, no one would be able to find out who did it. Besides, Wu Ming was also defending himself. No matter what, he wasn't wrong. It was just that he didn't want too many people to know about this. Otherwise, it would easily attract unnecessary trouble. Next is the second piece of the morning news. Yesterday morning, the famous entrepreneur, Ms. Zhou was bitten by a dire beast, the rainbow deadly snake, during a private party. Unfortunately, she died. Please try to choose a place with more people and safety when you hold your parties. Regarding the selection of the future successor of the Zhou's group, it will become a matter of concern. This was news about Zhou. Seeing this, Wu Ming couldn't help but sigh. Zhou was dead. This woman had hired assassins to kill him several times. Now, she had met her end. She deserved it. Wu Ming didn't have any sympathy for her. Knock, knock, knock. Someone knocked on the door. Wu Ming looked over and saw Zhang Okyun pushing open the glass door. Looking at Wu Ming, who was lying on the couch, Zhang Okyun asked angrily, "Wu Ming, where did you go yesterday?" "Pet shop staff having a picnic," Wu Ming answered. "Oh." Zhang Okyun opened her eyes wide in surprise. "No way. Your pet shop has only a few people. How can you organize this kind of activity?" After a moment of silence, Zhang Okyun put her hands on her waist and said, "Okay. You didn't invite me when you organized a picnic. Are you afraid that I'll bankrupt your pet shop?" Okay, I'll invite you next time, but you have to pay." Wu Ming found this woman annoying. But Zhang Okyun was too rich. She was such a big customer. She might have a temper, but he could tolerate it. "Right? Do you know of any powerful assassin organizations near Garan Castle?" Wu Ming asked all of a sudden. Zhang Okyun raised her eyebrows. "What? You want to hire assassins to kill me?" Wu Ming rolled his eyes. He really wanted to crack open Zhang Okyun's little head and see what was inside. He said, "Just tell me if there are any." Zhang Okyun sat down next to Wu Ming and checked on her phone. She said, "There really is an underground assassin organization. It's quite mysterious. It's said that they have several bases, but only one of them is real." "By the way, why are you asking this?" Zhang Okyun was curious. "Just asking," Wu Ming yawned. "I'll hire assassins to kill you one day when I get too annoyed with you." Zhang Okyun laughed. She seriously looked at Wu Ming and determined that he was only joking. Moreover, since Shui Ling obtained her F-grade defense and F-grade healing innate talent, her perception of danger had become even more acute. Ordinary assassins really wouldn't be able to hurt her. Brother Wu, good morning. Miss Zhang is here too. Wan Xiu put the breakfast on the table for Wu Ming and started to get busy. Not long after, Huang Sanba and Zuma Mei arrived as well. Business went on as usual for the day. Zhang Okyun stayed at the pet store. She said that the medicine store she had opened was about to open and she was ready to start business. Wu Ming was looking forward to it. The medicine store was nearby. It would be more convenient for him to buy raw materials for evolution food. Knock, knock, knock. Someone knocked on the door again. It was Mu Wanyan. The moment she walked in, Mu Wanyan saw Zhang Okyun. The two didn't know each other, but when they looked into each other's eyes, there was a strange feeling. Zhang Okyun raised her eyebrows and nudged Wu Ming, who was sitting next to her. Who is this? Mu Wanyan, my customer. Wu Ming stood up, took out 2 wooden boxes from the counter, opened them, and put them on the table. The one on the left is a Class F defensive food, and the one on the right is a Class F self-healing food. The total is 300,000. Since you are the first customer of the pet store, I will charge you 288,888 today. Wu Ming pointed at the 2 wooden boxes and introduced them. Hearing that she got a discount, Mu Wanyan jumped up happily. She reached out to hold Wu Ming's hand and thanked him. Zhang Yuyan curled her lips at the sight of this. Pay by card. Wu Ming handed the 2 wooden boxes to Mu Wanyan. Okay. Mu Wanyan took out her bank card at once and paid on the spot. Then, she opened the 2 wooden boxes and handed them to the little white fox. The little white fox sniffed and felt comfortable. First, the little white fox ate the defensive food and its fur became brighter. Then, the little white fox ate the self-healing food and its body grew bigger. Its eyes sparkled like gems. Chapter 55. Wow, that's some amazing food. Mu Wanyan received a message from the little white fox through the pet contract. She knew that the little white fox had evolved twice. Not only did the little white fox have a super alloy level of defense, but it also had strong self-healing abilities. As long as it didn't hurt its head, internal organs, or broken legs or claws, the little white fox could recover quickly. Wow! Little white fox cried out affectionately. The little white fox reached out with its sharp claws and tried several times. Finally, it tore open a wound on its own leg. In the next second, the wound healed at a speed visible to the naked eye. Mu Wanyan was happy to see this. Don't make a fuss. Zhang Okyun shrugged. She called out the water spirit and had it turn into a nail clipper so that she could trim her own nails. Young lady, you're using a pet with the potential of a rank A pet to trim your nails? Wu Ming was stunned. It's none of your business. Zhang Okyun rolled her eyes at Wu Ming. Mu Wanyan looked at Zhang Okyun, who was flirting with Wu Ming. She smiled and said, Mr. Wu Ming, thank you for the food. I'll go back now. Goodbye. Mu Wanyan waved her hand and left. Wu Ming didn't notice Mu Wanyan's expression. He didn't hear any emotional fluctuations in her tone and didn't think much of it. He sat down on the couch, took out his phone, and started playing a game. Zhang Okyun darted a glance at Wu Ming and said, Come and play King of Otherworld with me. Let's team up and play duo. King of Otherworld? I'll play it too. Huang Sanba pulled Zuma Mei and then looked at Wan Xiu. There are 5 of us. 5 dark. Okay. Zhang Okyun slapped her thigh and agreed. Wu Ming was a little confused and asked, King of a Strange World? What game is this? After saying that, he opened the App Store and found the game. He found that it was similar to King of Glory in his previous life. The corners of his mouth curled up slightly. This game is too simple. Back in the day, I was all mouthy king. Who's afraid of who? See you, today is a day off, let's play games together. Wu Ming said proudly. Wan Xiu opened her mouth and said, But I don't know how to. It's fine. There are 4 of us. Can't we carry you? Huang Sanba rolled up his sleeves and started the game with Zuma Mei. Wu Ming also quickly downloaded King of Alternate World. He realized that his account level was not high and he did not have a hero. Therefore, he paid for it and instantly filled the hero's skin. Not long after, Wan Xiu also joined the game. The 5 of them began to team up. However, they lost 3 rounds in a row. Xiu, don't rush to the tower. Xiu, quickly return to the spring. You used the return to the city. You're being attacked by minions. Of course you can't return to the city. Wan Xiu had no gaming talent. She had 4 gods and 1 girl, but they still lost 9 rounds in a row. In the end, perhaps because Zuma Mei and Huang Sanbo were also V8, they were matched with noobs and finally won. Let's get off work, let's get off work. I almost vomited blood today. Wu Ming put down his phone and called out. Everyone hurriedly packed up and went back to their homes. Brother Wu, I'm really sorry about today. I was too tricked. Wan Xiu stood in front of the door and used her hand to tidy up the strands of hair at the corner of her mouth. She lowered her head in embarrassment. It's okay. You're a newbie. Wu Ming patted Wan Xiu's shoulder. Okay, then I'll go back first. Wan Xiu carried her small backpack and looked at the sky. It was still early. She took a car to the city center, bought some new clothes for herself, and went shopping for a while. When the sky darkened, Wan Xiu was ready to go home. On a deserted street, Wan Xiu looked around and felt a bit gloomy. In the dark, a person coldly stared at Wan Xiu. The person tapped the wireless headset and said in a low voice, I found the female shop assistant beside the target. Do we need to kidnap her? Capture her first and take her to a deserted place. Then, lure the target here and finish him off quietly. Remember, if the target could kill the rubber snake without anyone noticing, his pet can't be weak. A cold man's voice came from the earpiece. No problem. The person turned off the headset. She walked out in her high heels. Wan Xiu heard the footsteps and saw a woman with short red hair and tattoos on her chest walking toward her. The woman was very pretty. The woman gave her a creepy smile and even licked her lips right in front of Wan Xiu. She's not interested in me, is she? Wan Xiu thought of a particular hobby. She moved to the side and sped up. All of a sudden, the short-haired woman made a move. She approached Wan Xiu in an instant, grabbed Wan Xiu's shoulder with one hand, pressed her against the wall, and covered Wan Xiu's nose and mouth with the other hand. Oh, Wan Xiu shouted and tears streamed down her cheeks. At this moment, she felt helpless. Before she passed out, the only person that flashed through her mind was Wu Ming. 9:30 at night. Wu Ming smashed his phone in anger. I'm so angry. What a stupid teammate. He sat on the couch and drank a glass of water. He heard a video call and saw that it was from Wan Xiu. Video calling me at this hour. What do you want? Wu Ming raised his eyebrows and answered the call. On the screen, Wan Xiu was lying unconscious on a wooden box that seemed to be an abandoned warehouse. Her proud chest rose and fell slightly, indicating that she was still breathing. Whoosh! A short-haired woman with a voluptuous figure and a clown mask appeared on the screen. She gave Wu Ming a creepy smile. You're Wu Ming, right? Last night, Snake Skin tried to assassinate you, but he died. It seems that you have some tricks up your sleeve. At this point, the short-haired woman took out a dagger and placed it on Wan Xiu's neck. She smiled and said, If you don't want this little beauty to die, bring your pet, that little black puppy that can breathe fire, over here. But remember, only one person and one dog can come. If you dare to alarm the others, I can end the life of this delicate and pretty shop assistant of yours in an instant. With that, the short-haired woman hung up the video call. Wu Ming opened his eyes wide and clenched his fists. He gritted his teeth. His face gradually became gloomy and then strange. In short, it looked very complicated. After a long silence, Wu Ming complained. Idiot, you didn't even tell me the location. Where can I find you? The next moment, there was another video call request from Wan Xiu. Wu Ming quickly picked it up. The location is an abandoned factory in the southern area of Garan Castle, the abandoned warehouse at 38 Levin Street. The short-haired woman hung up immediately. Hearing this, Wu Ming spread his hands and complained, "You said it so fast. Are you afraid that I can't remember? In the warehouse. I'm a professional assassin. How can I forget to tell you the address? F***CK. The short-haired woman threw the mask on the ground and cursed. Chapter 56. At the pet store, Wu Ming held Little Tyrant in his arms and turned on the wicked map. The two places were 3,000 meters apart, not close at all. Since there were no cars at night, Wu Ming had to walk. 15 minutes later, the short-haired woman paced back and forth on the spot. She scolded, "It's been so long and you're still not here. When you get here, I'll kill you." Another 15 minutes passed. The side door of the warehouse was opened. The short-haired woman hid Wan Xiu in the dark at once. With Little Tyrant in his arms, Wu Ming slowly walked to the empty space in the center of the warehouse. "Finally, I'm here." The short-haired woman saw Wu Ming's face and compared him to the photo. She was sure that it was him. She sneered to herself. She hid well in the container. She didn't make any sound and it was hard for anyone to notice her. Wu Ming looked around but didn't see anyone. "I'm here. Come out," Wu Ming shouted. However, only his voice echoed in the abandoned warehouse. There was no other voice. Wu Ming looked around vigilantly. He found Wan Xiu's phone on a wooden box. He picked it up and confirmed that it was the right place. But where was she? "There's a cage over there. Put your pet in the cage and close it. Make sure it won't run out." The short-haired woman's voice came from all directions. She had placed small Bluetooth speakers around the warehouse. Her voice could be heard at the same time, making it impossible for anyone to tell her exact location. Wu Ming looked at the ground and found a cage made of super alloy. He checked the cage and found no trap. However, once Little Tyrant was locked in, it wouldn't be able to escape in a short period of time. By then, Wu Ming would lose his pet's protection. It seems that the female assassin thinks that Little Tyrant killed the assassin from last night. That's why she came up with this idea. As long as she can trap Little Tyrant, she can do whatever she wants. Unfortunately, she doesn't know that I have a backup plan, Wu Ming thought to himself. He stroked Little Tyrant's head and placed it in the metal cage. He locked it up and locked it with the electronic lock. Then, he looked around and shouted, "I locked up the pets. What now? Where is Xiu?" In the darkness, Wan Xiu had woken up. However, her entire body was anesthetized. She could only open her eyes and see what was happening outside through the gap of the container, but she could not make any sound to remind them. How obedient! The short-haired woman saw Wu Ming's every move and sneered. She silently walked to the outside of the container and looked at Wu Ming from 10 meters away. "Who are you?" Wu Ming asked in a deep voice. The short-haired woman crossed her arms and sneered, "F-class assassin, Hong Ying." She stepped on the catwalk and landed without a sound. Her movements were light and graceful, like a humanoid version of the ghost cat, giving people a strange feeling. Wu Ming hurriedly activated Eye of Insight. Hong Ying, F-class Beast Tamer, Senior. Pet, F-class Lady Midnight Cat, Senior. Pet Talent, F-class Fusion. The pet can fuse with the Beast Tamer. The pet can maintain its human form but gain the pet's abilities and flexibility. F-class Speed, 29 meters per second. F-class General Anesthesia. Wu Ming narrowed his eyes after he read the information about Hong Ying and her F-class pet, the Lady Midnight Cat. He didn't know that such a miraculous pet and pet talent existed in this world. No wonder she looks like a cat and can walk without making any sound. She has gained the pet's abilities. Wu Ming began to step back. He had to pretend to be scared to make sure that Hong Ying wouldn't be suspicious and wouldn't notice the ghost cat in the dark. Only in this way could he find a chance to kill her. "Why do you want to kill me?" Wu Ming asked all of a sudden, deliberately stalling for time. "Ha ha ha. Someone paid you to assassinate you. Isn't it normal for assassins like us to kill you?" Hong Ying giggled. She wiggled her slim waist and approached Wu Ming. "Don't come near me." Wu Ming began to step back. In the darkness, the ghost cat took light step. Finally, it found Wan Xiu leaning against the wall of the container. The ghost cat was sure that she was still alive, but she couldn't move. Through the pet contract, Wu Ming learned about Wan Xiu's situation. Relieved, he asked at once, "Where is Xiu?" "You mean that pretty girl, right?" Well, she's quite pretty. She's my type." Hong Ying's body flashed, and she appeared in front of Wu Ming. She gripped his shoulder with one hand, and her red lips curled into a smile. "Wait till I kill you, then I'll enjoy her, ha ha." The fear on Wu Ming's face suddenly disappeared. He calmed down and looked at Hong Ying quietly. "Oh, is that so?" "What?" Hong Ying sensed that something was wrong. She reached out her hand with sharp nails, ready to cut off Wu Ming's head. PFF. Hong Ying realized that her body was no longer under her control. It was as if her head had been separated from her body. Then, her head rolled to the ground and so did her body. Hiss! A dark shadow fell from Hong Ying's corpse. It rolled on the ground a few times and screamed in pain. Soon, it turned into a 1-meter-long black cat that seemed to have no bones. It struggled for a while and then died. "Is this the Midnight Cat, an F-level pet?" Wu Ming took a deep breath. He reached out his hand and transformed the bodies of Hong Ying and the Midnight Cat, gaining 20 evolution points. He also added 50 kilograms to the material ball, which weighed 350 kilograms. Then, he looked at Hong Ying's clothes on the ground and found a dark golden card made of special materials. Spirit Devil Assassins Guild. Wu Ming looked at the words on the card. There was a serial number 013 on it. It seemed that Hong Ying was only the 13th assassin. This guild is strong. There are at least a dozen other F-level beast tamers. This is troublesome. Wu Ming hated the feeling of being targeted. Woof, woof, woof. Little Tyrant circled around in the cage and barked, as if it was asking Wu Ming to let it out. Wu Ming searched Hong Ying's clothes and found some bank cards and unlocking cards. He successfully opened the electronic lock of the cage. Then, he threw these things into the system space and went to the container to help Wan Xiu up. Good. She was only hit by the Midnight Cat's level F general anesthesia. She should be able to recover after a night's sleep. Wu Ming looked into Wan Xiu's big eyes and put on a warm smile. He carried her on his back and hurried to the pet store. Everything was quiet on the way. Wan Xiu was conscious. She could see Wu Ming, but she could not speak. She could only lie on his warm and broad back and enjoy the warmth. Wan Xiu blushed as she looked at Little Tyrant, who was exploring the way, and then at Wu Ming's handsome face. She felt that this was a good and sweet moment. How nice would it be if time could stop on this quiet night? Wan Xiu thought so in her heart. She blinked gently, lying on Wu Ming's back, and gradually fell asleep. Chapter 57. Early the next morning, Wan Xiu woke up from Wu Ming's bed. Looking at the tidy clothes on her body, she pursed her lips, tiptoed, lifted the blanket, and walked downstairs. However, she didn't see Wu Ming. She was disappointed. Creak. The door of the pet store was opened all of a sudden. "Xiu, you're awake?" Wu Ming walked in with 2 bags of breakfast, a new toothbrush, and a towel. He put them on the table. "Wash up first and then have breakfast." "And good." Wan Xiu nodded cleverly. In the washroom, Wan Xiu was brushing her teeth. She couldn't help but twist her slim waist and admire herself in the mirror. She bit her lips as she remembered what happened the night before. She felt her cheeks burning. She quickly washed her face with cold water, then went to the pet store and sat down across from Wu Ming. Just like that, the two of them ate their breakfast in silence. A long while later, Huang Sanba and Zuma Mei arrived at the pet store. Wu Ming looked at the two and said with a smile, "You two are really inseparable. How about this? Ask Zuma Mei to be our chauffeur." Although he was only joking, Wu Ming had the same idea. Zuma Mei asked in a hurry, "Brother Wu, is this true? I can work here?" "I don't think it's a problem. You're unemployed anyway. Why don't you work here as a chauffeur? Besides, I think you're quite good at driving, right?" Wu Ming asked. Huang Sanba grinned. "Driving? What kind of car are you talking about, Brother Wu?" "I think both of her driving skills are quite good." Zuma Mei rolled her eyes. She grabbed Huang Sanba's ear and twisted it. "Ouch! Ouch! Ouch!" Huang Sanba begged at once. Seeing this, Wan Siyu could not help but laugh. After what happened last night, she still didn't know how to talk to Wu Ming. However, after hearing the conversation between Zuma Mei and Huang Sanba, her mood immediately improved. Wu Ming pulled a long face. "As a matter of fact, I meant what I said. Huang Sanba is the bodyguard and doorman of the pet store. Zuma Mei, you drive him to and from the pet store every day. Why don't you be his driver?" Zuma Mei and Huang Sanba looked at each other. In the end, both of them nodded at the same time. "Okay. I'm willing to join the pet store and become a full-time driver. Brother Wu Siyu, please take care of me in the future." Zuma Mei extended her hand. "Welcome." Wu Ming shook hands with Zuma Mei. They had reached an agreement. "Mei, we can work together from now on." Wan Siyu and Zuma Mei high-fived. Both of them were overjoyed. Soon, Wu Ming printed out a contract. Zuma Mei was familiar with this aspect. She signed the contract right away. The base salary for each month was 3,000, similar to Wan Siyu's. As for Huang Sanba, he had passed the F-rank Beast Tamer exam and successfully became a full-time employee. His base salary was above 10,000 pet coins. Sign the contract." Zhang Okeyun's surprised voice came from outside the door. Everyone looked up and saw her walking into the pet store in her high heels. Zhang Okeyun looked at the contract in Zuma Mei's hand and then looked at Wu Ming. She put on a funny smile. "Oh, Mr. Wu, why don't you take me in as well? I can be your personal financial consultant. 3,000 a day is enough." Wu Ming spat out water. 3,000 a day? That was 1,000,000 a year. Damn it! Who could afford to hire you? Wu Ming really wanted to curse. He said grumpily, "Forget it. I can't hire you with such a high price." Zhang Okeyun shrugged. Outside the Garan castle, an old man with glasses stood in front of a machine. It has been confirmed that Killer 013, Hong Ying, no longer has any vital signs. The F-rank pet, Midnight Cat Lady, has also been obliterated. There was no prolonged battle. All of them were killed in one hit. It has been determined that the opponent is at least an experienced E-rank beast tamer. A cold mechanical voice came from the machine. Hearing this, the old man's face turned gloomy. An experienced E-rank beast tamer. Even for the Spirit Demon Assassination Guild, this was not weak. There were so many masters hiding around Wu Ming? This guy's identity was definitely not simple, the old man thought to himself. He walked into an underground hall with the results of the analysis. He bowed to the boss of the assassins, who had his back to the assassins, and said, "Boss, Hong Ying's assassination mission failed. It has been confirmed that there is an E-rank beast tamer around the target." Phew! The boss of the assassins blew out a smoke ring. The old man bent over and waited. As a follower of many years, he knew that his boss was thinking of a countermeasure and was waiting patiently. Someone who can afford to hire an E-rank beast tamer is very powerful. He is not much weaker than our guild. Don't do anything to him for the time being. Continue to investigate the situation. With that, the boss of the assassins held the cigar in his mouth and stopped talking. The old man was silent for a moment. Then he nodded and said, "Yes." He left the hall and passed down the order of the boss of the assassins. Soon, all the staff of the Spirit Demon Assassination Guild and the assassins with serial numbers received the order. They were to try their best to find out more information about Wu Ming without alerting the enemy. Garan Castle. In a bar. A woman in a miniskirt that exposed her navel stood in the middle of the dance floor. Her hair was dyed dark green, and her sexy body was swaying. "Wow, wow!" The customers around her were shouting. Not long after, the woman sat in her seat and ordered a cocktail. Just as she was about to drink it, she heard someone calling her from behind. The woman turned around and found an unfamiliar ruffian man standing behind her. He was wearing a red cap. "Sorry, I got the wrong person." The man waved his hand and walked away. At the same time, a man in a black sweater standing to the right of the woman immediately sprinkled some powder into the woman's drink the moment she turned around. The bartender saw this scene. However, the man in the black sweater used his hand to make a gesture on his neck. The bartender immediately shut his mouth and did not dare to speak. The woman turned her head and drank the drink as if she did not notice anything. Then she leaned on the bar counter. "Hee, this green-haired woman is really wild. Us brothers are in luck tonight." The man in the black sweater supported the woman and walked out of the bar together with the man in the red cap who greeted the woman earlier. When the bartender saw this, he sighed. He wanted to be a Samaritan. However, once he did so, he would be threatened by the local ruffians. He would be beaten up or even killed while walking in the dark. In order to survive, he could only pretend that he did not see anything. In a deserted alley, two men threw the woman on a shabby sofa. Just as they were about to undress, their movements suddenly stiffened. Then they fell to the ground and foamed at the mouth. Obviously, they were poisoned to death. Hiss! The sound of a poisonous snake hissing was heard. The woman stood up from the sofa and stretched out her hand. A black poisonous snake with the thickness of a thumb and half a meter long was coiled in her palm. "Sending me a message at this time? I haven't had enough fun yet." The woman took out her phone. After seeing the message, "Find out the identity of the E-level target, Wu Ming," the woman frowned slightly. She twisted her slender waist and walked out of the courtyard. Chapter 58. The woman with dark green hair went to the street. She lifted a tarpaulin and revealed an off-road motorcycle. It had a very cool design. She put on the helmet and stepped on the accelerator. Instantly, she dashed toward Nanwan Street. Under the night sky, Wu Ming had closed the glass door. He was lying on the couch, watching TV. In a few days, the Garan Castle will announce the pet and pet training competitions, right? But, even if they do, they won't go into too much detail. Wu Ming murmured to himself. He had received a recommendation and didn't need to participate in the auditions. Still, he decided to be there in person and observe. "I can go out of the city in a few days and convert more evolution points." Wu Ming looked at the world outside the door and made this decision. He had been cooped up in the Garan Castle. Although it was comfortable, it was difficult for him to develop. He had to go out of the city and plunder. As the saying went, a horse wouldn't get fat if it didn't feed at night. If he couldn't leave the Garan Castle and go to areas like the valley under Zhou Nana's name to gain evolution points, it would be difficult for him to buy a large number of recipes for level E evolution food and make them. Every level F pet, once it has 5 level F talents at the same time, its physical quality will meet the requirements to eat level E talent. That means it can advance. Wu Ming looked at the table. The ghost cat was still in stealth mode. It was wagging its tail. Its potential was level F and it had reached adulthood. To break through to level E, it had to improve itself. For example, it had to acquire enough level F talent. At the moment, the ghost cat's talents included level F speed, level F stealth, level F steel claws, level F defense, and level F self-healing. Exactly 5 level F talent. This meant that the ghost cat had reached the upper limit of level F pet. A pet with level F potential can have up to 5 level F talent. Even if it gets other level F evolution food, it will find it difficult to absorb them. But its physical quality will be enhanced by the 5 level F talents. It will be able to advance to the next level after eating 1 level E evolution food. By then, I will have my first level E pet. Wu Ming continued to analyze Ghost Cat's data. A moment later, he opened the system store. Level E talent Supersonic Speed and Level E talent Vajra Claws. These 2 level E evolutionary food are both priced at 98 points. They are very suitable for the Ghost Cat at this stage. Since he still had a few hundred evolution points, Wu Ming felt that it was enough for now. Thus, he clicked on the purchase button. Quick Food. E-Recipe. E-Grade Vicious Beast Inner Core X35G, Black Clear Grass X189G. Innocent Leaf X337G and 17 other medicinal ingredients. Evolution Points X15 Effect. Any F-rank or E-rank pet that meets the promotion requirements will be granted the E-rank talent Extreme Speed. The speed increase effect is closely related to the pet's own talent. Seeing these materials, Wu Ming was speechless. An E-grade Vicious Beast Inner Core. This thing was precious and difficult to obtain. However, the next second, Wu Ming took out an inner core that had a darker color. On its surface, he could see the mark of a unicorn rhino. Luckily, when I came back from Yaotao Ancient Town, I found the inner core of an E-rank unicorn rhino. This thing is denser than iron. It weighs at least half a kilogram. I can use it 10 times. Wu Ming felt an inexplicable joy. He took out his computer and searched for the medicinal ingredients introduced in the recipe of the E-rank quick food. He found that the market price of the medicinal ingredients for one batch of evolution food was 100,000. That was the official price of an F-rank evolution food. But at the moment, he could only buy the raw materials for an E-rank evolution food. That's a bit expensive, Wu Ming mumbled. But, after reaching the E-rank, the Ghost Cat's speed will be at least 50 meters per second. It can beat any F-rank pet. The Ghost Cat's combat ability has been greatly enhanced. Then, Wu Ming opened the second batch of E-rank evolution food. King Kong Claw Food. E-rank Recipe. E-rank Vicious Beast Inner Core X 33 grams, Super Alloy Steel X 153 grams, Golden Loquat Nuts X 115 grams, Fire Bone Chalcedony X 137 grams, and 23 other medicinal ingredient. Evolution Points X15 Effect. Any F-rank or E-rank pet that meets the promotion requirements will be able to acquire the E-rank talent King Kong Claw. The hardness and sharpness of the claws will be 3 times that of Super Alloy Steel. Wu Ming checked the recipe of the E-rank King Kong Claw food online at once. The market price of one batch of raw materials was 150,000. Generally, E-rank evolution food is only 300,000, which is not much higher than raw materials. Why is that? Wu Ming was confused. He went to the pet website at once. Soon, he found the best explanation. On the Sky Blue planet, 99% of the ferocious beasts can't reach rank F. Of the ferocious beasts that do reach rank F, 90% of them will be stuck at rank F. This is why there are so few ferocious beasts and pets above rank E. Therefore, although the evolution food above the E rank is precious, it is hard to sell. Of course, the official price is not high. Wu Ming understood after reading the explanation. However, Wu Ming looked at the sky outside and realized that it was late. It was not safe to go to the super affordable store right now. He would have to wait until the next day. Wu Ming put away the inner core of the E-rank unicorn rhino and was about to go upstairs. Boom! An off-road motorcycle stopped in front of the pet store. A pair of fair and long legs stepped off the motorcycle. Then, a sexy woman wearing a miniskirt, a halter top, and shoulder-length dark green hair walked to the door. Knock, knock, knock. The woman knocked on the door. Wu Ming stood up and sized up the green-haired woman who was taller than him. "We're closed today. Sorry, I'm late. But I have an appointment," the woman said. The woman said. There was a hint of charm in her cold voice. It was very unique. Wu Ming remembered it immediately. Appointment. Wu Ming frowned. "We don't have appointments in our pet store. You must have come to the wrong place." "Oh, is that so?" The woman took out her phone and looked at it. "I'm sorry. I did see it wrong. I mistook Hui Yu Street for Nanwen Street." Hearing this, Wu Ming was speechless. There was indeed a Hui Yu Street in Jialan City, and there seemed to be several pet shops on that street. However, Wu Ming still felt that there was a big problem with the green-haired woman's eyesight to be able to mistake Hui Yu as a southern language. The woman didn't leave. Instead, she asked, "How many kinds of evolution food do you have?" "Only a few at the moment," Wu Ming said. "Since you have evolution food here, how about this? I'll come by tomorrow at 3 o'clock in the afternoon to pick out the evolution food. As long as it's suitable for my pet, the price is not a problem." With that said, the woman twisted her slender waist and got back on the off-road motorcycle. She stepped on the gas and left Nanwen Street. Looking at the woman's back, Wu Ming found it strange. But since she was a customer, he wouldn't turn her down. Again, he would be an idiot if he didn't make money. A few kilometers away, the woman stopped by the roadside. She took out her phone and quickly typed, "I've got a chance to approach the target. The plan will officially start tomorrow." She sent the message to a Red Skull avatar. Then, she rode the motorcycle and quickly disappeared into the boundless night. Chapter 59. Wu Ming didn't think much of the green-haired woman. She looked a bit strange, but she was a real F-level beast tamer. So far, he hadn't noticed anything strange about her. Wu Ming had no idea that this woman was an assassin from the Spirit Demon Assassins Guild. After washing up, Wu Ming lay on the bed and fell into a deep sleep. The next morning, Wan Siyu was the first one to arrive at the pet store. Soon, Zuma Mei drove Huang Sanba to the store. Before the two could unfasten their seatbelts, Wu Ming had already walked over and handed 2 envelopes to Huang Sanba. These are 2 different evolutionary food recipes. Apart from the cores of E-level beasts, buy the other materials as soon as possible. If you can't get them all, we'll talk about it again. Brother Wu, don't worry. We'll go right away. Huang Sanba took the envelopes and headed to the super affordable shopping mall. Wu Ming returned to the pet store and gave Wan Siyu a task. Find all the places near Garan Castle that might have rare materials. Try to be as detailed, accurate, updated, and reliable as possible. Okay. Wan Siyu got to work. Soon, she found a lot of information. After filtering and categorizing, she sorted out 2 pieces of paper and put them on the table. Brother Wu, I went through layers of filtering and finally found a place called Heavenly Abyss Canyon. It's 200 kilometers away from Garan Castle, located in a mountain range. It's said that E-level beasts roam there. It's a favorite place for beast tamers from Garan Castle to go to in teams. Heavenly Abyss Canyon. Wu Ming remembered this place. He picked up the information prepared by Wan Siyu and browsed through it. At the same time, he logged onto the pet website to check and add information. In the blink of an eye, 2 hours passed. Huang Sanba and Zuma Mei walked into the pet store with a big bag and handed the shopping list to Wu Ming. Brother Wu, 90% of the raw materials have been gathered. Now there are still a few missing. They are all listed on the list. Huang Sanba said. Wu Ming opened the list. Black bright grass, fire bone chalcedony, tortoise snake gallbladder, colored glass thorn. These were the materials that he was still lacking. He was still missing 2 types of E-grade rapid food rations and E-grade diamond claws. When will the materials be available? Wu Ming asked. Huang Samba shook his head and said, "It's hard to say. It's said that these herbs came from the Tianyuan Canyon, and the team sent by the super affordable shopping center to search for the herbs has lost several batches. It's said that they encountered powerful fierce beasts, so these herbs can't be found in a short time." Hearing this, Wu Ming sank into his thoughts. He had just checked the Tianyuan Canyon. Now, he heard that the missing materials could only be found there. Those materials were crucial to whether or not the ghost cat could advance to the E grade. He couldn't just sit and wait. Ring, ring, ring. His phone rang. Wu Ming picked it up. "Hello, is this He Wu Ming? I heard that Huang Samba passed the F-rank test and officially became an official beast tamer. His pet, the mighty bear, defeated Lai Dasheng's explosive dragon. He is very strong. I would like to ask him for a favor. Once it's done, he will be rewarded with 100,000 pet coins." Su Qianqian's coquettish voice came from the other side of the phone. Ever since she had a night with Wu Ming, she had become more and more feminine. Even over the phone, Wu Ming could feel her coquettish aura. "Is it dangerous?" Wu Ming asked. "We are teaming up to go to the Tianyuan Canyon. That place is dangerous, but this time, several of our shopping centers have joined forces. So far, we have gathered 5 F-rank beast tamers. If Huang Samba can go with us, that would be great." Su Qianqian told him the truth. "The Tianyuan Canyon. I will go too," Wu Ming said. On the other side of the phone, Su Qianqian was silent for a while. Wu Ming, don't joke around. This time, we are not going to Yaotao Ancient Town. We are going to the Tianyuan Canyon. That place is very dangerous." Su Qianqian hurried to persuade him. She knew that Wu Ming also had a powerful pet that could kill the venomous stinger. But subconsciously, Su Qianqian didn't want Wu Ming to put himself in danger. "I must go." Wu Ming was determined. Once he found those 4 materials, the ghost cat would be able to advance to an E-rank pet very quickly, and its strength would increase greatly. Around Garan Castle, it would be safer to have an E-rank pet to protect him. At least, when he faced the Spirit Demon Assassination Guild in the dark, he would be able to protect himself to a certain extent. Then, okay. Su Qianqian couldn't persuade Wu Ming and had to agree. "Because time is tight, we have to leave at noon today. At that time, I will send a car to pick you and Huang Samba up." "No problem." Wu Ming hung up the phone. Then, he told her about the matter. Upon hearing that they were going to the Tianyuan Canyon, Wan Xiu hurried to persuade him. "Brother Wu, there are E-rank beast tamers there. It is very dangerous." Huang Samba didn't think much of it. "Last time, Brother Wu gave me something that could even kill an E-rank unicorn rhinoceros. What is there to be afraid of at the Tianyuan Canyon?" Zuma Mei didn't say anything. She quietly tidied up Huang Samba's collar. "I urgently need the 4 materials from the Tianyuan Canyon. As you know, those are 2 portions of E-rank beast tamer's food, very important." Wu Ming thought for a moment. "I have a second pet. It already has 5 F-rank talents and can advance to the E-rank at any time. I have to go on this trip." Wan Xiu and Zuma Mei opened their eyes wide in surprise. Huang Samba was the only one who didn't think it was strange. Wu Ming was a genius trainer. Having a pet that had reached the peak of the F-rank was nothing special. As far as he was concerned, the second pet that Wu Ming mentioned must be the mysterious pet that had killed the F-rank poison sting. That pet had yet to show up. For a moment, Huang Samba wondered if that pet was just air. At noon, a big M pulled up in front of the pet store. "Get in." The window rolled down, revealing Yin Tong's cold face. "Hey, you're going as well?" Huang Samba asked with a smile. Yin Tong rolled up the window and said, "Beast tamers from several chambers of commerce have gathered here. I will represent the Super Affordable Mall. Including you two, the Super Affordable Mall's team is the largest. We will get the most things when the time comes." "That would be great." Wu Ming got in the car. Soon, the Big M drove away from Nanwan Street. The car went out from the north gate. After passing the security check, it met up with the other 4 cars 10 kilometers away from the city. "You guys from the super affordable shopping center are always dawdling," the red-haired man in the driver's seat complained as the window of an off-road vehicle rolled down. The beast tamers in the other 3 cars darted a look at Yin Tong, Wu Ming, and Huang Sanba. Their gazes lingered on Huang Sanba for a while, but they didn't say anything. Boom! The engine started again. The team set off. In the blink of an eye, it was 3 o'clock in the afternoon. The team was close to their destination. At the pet store on Nanwan Street, Zuma Mei was sitting on the couch, playing King of Otherworlds with Wan Xiu. "Where is he?" A cold female voice came from outside the door. Wan Xiu looked up and saw a tall woman with green hair standing in front of the door, looking at the pet store. "Who are you looking for?" Wan Xiu asked. "I'm looking for Wu Ming, the owner of your pet store. I made an appointment with him last night. We're going to pick out some evolution food today," the green-haired woman said. Brother Wu went out. "I'm afraid he won't be back today." Wan Xiu shook her head. "If you're not in a hurry, you can come back tomorrow or the day after." "He went out?" The green-haired woman frowned. Chapter 60. "Do you know where he went?" the green-haired woman asked Wan Xiu after a moment of silence. Zuma Mei reached out to stop Wan Xiu, who was about to speak, and said to the green-haired woman, "I'm sorry, this is a secret. I can't tell you." The green-haired woman realized that she couldn't get anything out of her. She looked at the time and said, "I'll come back later." After the green-haired woman left, Zuma Mei rolled her eyes at Wan Xiu and reminded her kindly, "Xiu, you're still too young. Brother Wu and the others went on such an important mission. How could you tell them so casually?" "I'm sorry, I won't be so reckless next time." Wan Xiu pursed her lips and realized her carelessness. On a mountain, Wu Ming and his group of 7 parked the car at the top of the mountain and looked down. As far as their eyes could see, there was a huge canyon that stretched for hundreds of kilometers. It was surrounded by faint clouds and mist, and it was more than 10 kilometers wide. There were small cracks in the canyon every once in a while. It looked like the entire Tianyuan Canyon was a piece of iron leaf. "The Tianyuan Canyon is down there," Yin Tong whispered. The red-haired male beast tamer crossed his arms, and a half-meter-tall monkey stood on his shoulder. It looked down and said, "First of all, we'll split it according to the number of people. In other words, everything will be divided into 7 portions. Our 4 chambers of commerce will take 1 portion each, and your super affordable mall will take 3 portions. But, what's up with your pet? Why is it a little black dog?" Everyone looked at the little tyrant in Wu Ming's arms. A little black dog that hadn't grown up yet. What kind of combat power could it have? "Breathe fire," Wu Ming said. Little tyrant immediately breathed a ball of fire on the ground. Even the rocks were burned and cracked. The surrounding beast tamers were surprised. Brother Wu is an F-grade beast tamer. At the same time, he's also an F-grade beast tamer. He's different from you all. Huang Sanba pointed at Wu Ming and introduced him to the beast tamers present. The other beast tamers of Class F were quite familiar with Huang Sanba. After all, on the Garan Castle Forum, Huang Sanba was very famous. Many people predicted that his pet, the mighty bear, could definitely be ranked at the top of all the F-grade pets because of its strong combat ability. As such, all the beastmasters present were very wary of him. They were all convinced by Huang Sanba's words. "Oh, it's Mr. Trainer. What kind of evolutionary food do you have here? I'd like to buy some when we get back to Garan Castle," a middle-aged man with a friendly face asked. His pet was a Mount Condor. It had claws made of superalloy and was strong and fast. At critical moments, the Mount Condor could grab him and fly away. Speed and defense type of evolutionary food. Wu Ming didn't reveal the self-healing food because this kind of evolutionary food was very precious. He wouldn't reveal it unless he was absolutely sure that he was safe. Oh, there's actually defensive food. That's good. The other beast tamers around him were intrigued. As the saying went, if you always walk by the river, your shoes will eventually get wet. No matter how agile and fast a pet was, it could still be hit by a ferocious beast. At this moment, the role of the defensive talent came into play. Een Tong crossed her arms and the night viper curled up on her shoulder. She looked down at the mist and urged, "It's already afternoon. If we don't take action now, it will only drag on for longer, especially at night. The situation will be very unfavorable for us." "Then let's take action." The group cut down some trees around them to cover the cars. They carried the necessary large luggage, and went into the heavenly abyss canyon along the stone wall. There were lakes and waterfalls in the canyon. The noise was deafening. The ground was full of berry trees that were several meters tall. Even if they didn't bring any food, they could still survive for a long time. Shriek. In the sky, the cries of many flying ferocious beasts could be heard. In the surrounding woods, there were many wild beasts and even ferocious beasts hibernating, hunting, or running away. It could be called a paradise for ferocious beasts. Coo coo! At this moment, a strange sound was approaching. Wu Ming looked over. He saw a brown ferocious beast that looked like a raptor but had a coxcomb on its head. It walked through the bushes and stood in front of them. It's a coxcomb dragon, a ferocious beast without a rank. It's quite strong. Unfortunately, it's no match for us, the red-haired beast tamer said with a smile. The monkey standing on his shoulder suddenly jumped out. A sharp superalloy dagger appeared in its hand. It quickly cut off the coxcomb dragon's neck and jumped back to the beast tamer's shoulder. The whole process was done in one breath. It took less than a second. That's fast. Its speed is at least 33 meters per second. That's fast among all the F-level beasts, Huang Sanba mumbled. You flatter me. The red-haired beast tamer didn't feel proud. He had seen the video of the duel between Huang Sanba and Lai Desheng. He knew that the mighty bear was not to be trifled with. In terms of strength, the mighty bear could crush his spirit monkey. Let's move on, Een Tong said. She was the commander for this trip. The group of people walked in front. When Wu Ming passed by the coxcomb dragon, he pretended to be curious and touched it. He gained 2 evolution points. This place is not a paradise for ferocious beasts. It's a paradise for me. Wu Ming curled his lips. If this trip wasn't too dangerous, he would have gained at least a few hundred evolution points. If he was lucky, he might get more than 1,000. A man can't get rich without a windfall. A horse can't get fat without feeding at night. If I don't go out for a walk and stay in the Garan castle all the time, it's hard to come across such an opportunity. Wu Ming thought to himself as he moved on. In the blink of an eye, 10 minutes had passed. The group stopped in front of a pool. The pool had a radius of 30 meters. There was a small oasis 15 meters away from the shore. More than a dozen white flowers were growing on the oasis. They were still glowing. Wu Ming took a closer look. It was a kind of medicinal material called the white spirit flower. One flower could be sold for at least 1,000 pet coins. Many evolutionary foods could be used for this. There are F-level ferocious beasts in the pool. We can't let our guard down. Then what should we do? Someone has to lure the ferocious beast out of the pool. The others will go up and pick the white spirit flowers. Then, how should we divide the white spirit flowers? There are 15 flowers here. Each of us will get 2. The last one will be decided by a rock-paper-scissors game. The winner will get the last one. Okay, let's do it. Soon, the group reached a consensus. The mighty bear had the strongest defense. He was responsible for luring the F-level ferocious beast into the pool. As for the others, some were responsible for assisting Huang Sanba, while the rest were responsible for going up to the oasis and picking the 15 white spirit flowers. Plop! The mighty bear jumped into the pool and swam. All of a sudden, A crocodile with a mouth full of fangs dashed over and bit the mighty bear's hind leg. The crocodile started a death roll. The mighty bear relied on its F-level defense to withstand the bite. He grabbed the crocodile's head and swam toward the shore. "Let's go." The others took action at once. The mountain eagle glided across the water and used its beak to pick up 2 white spirit flowers. It flapped its wings and returned to the shore. Chapter 61. Roar! The crocodile realized their plan. It struggled, trying to go back to the oasis to protect the white spirit flowers. However, the mighty bear held onto the crocodile for dear life. If it weren't for the fact that they were in the water, the mighty bear would have been able to drag the crocodile to the shore. Hiss! Silver Eye's night viper took action. The viper dashed across the water and bit the crocodile's eye, injecting a large amount of venom. The crocodile struggled in pain, and its strength was weakening. The mighty bear threw the crocodile to the shore. The other pets swarmed over and cut open the crocodile's stomach. This strong F-level beast died on the spot. The middle-aged man's mount eagle flew back and forth several times. It picked up 15 white spirit flowers and placed them on a rock. The more people there are, the more strength there is. Normally, we wouldn't be able to deal with an F-level beast, the red-haired beast tamer said with a smile. Let's distribute the white spirit flowers. Silver Eye was a woman of few words. Wu Ming, Huang Sanba, and the others each took 2 flowers. The last one had to be decided by rock, paper, scissors. Rock, paper, scissors. The 7 of them began to play. After several rounds of fierce competition, Huang Sanba, who was the luckiest, won the last white spirit flower and gave it to Wu Ming. Let's go to the next destination. Holding the map, Silver Eye pointed to a cave hundreds of meters away. There were many herbs growing in the cave, including the glass thorn that Wu Ming needed. A few hundred meters was not a long distance. Wu Ming and the others had F-level pets to lead the way. They were not afraid of E-level beasts. A few minutes later, they arrived at the cave. Be careful. There may be beasts in there, Silver Eye reminded them and put on her helmet. As for what she was wearing, she had changed into a tight-fitting combat suit before they left the city. The combat suit was made from the skin of beasts, which was both cut and bulletproof. Wu Ming, Huang Sanba, and the others all put on their helmet. They were fully armed and had super alloy steel daggers in their hands. 3 pets in the front and 4 at the back to protect everyone in the center. I'll take the lead. A muscular male beastmaster was holding a strong flashlight, illuminating the cave. Countless poisonous insects and bats immediately flew over. Get down! Intong shouted. Breathe fire, Wu Ming ordered. Little Tyrant roared and spat out blazing flames into the cave. The flames lasted for as long as 10 seconds, and all the poisonous insects and bats that passed by were all burned to death. Their corpses fell to the ground, emitting a charred stench. F***CK. What level is this flame? It's so strong. The red-haired beast tamer was speechless. It's an E-rank companion talent, but because Little Tyrant hasn't matured yet, its current power is about the same as an F-rank flame. Wu Ming explained. So, this black puppy is a pet with E-rank potential? No wonder he's a master trainer. He's so rich. The red-haired beast tamer exclaimed. The group went deeper. Soon, they arrived at the deepest part of the cave. Green, glowing vines crawled all over the walls, lighting up the entire cave. There were jagged rocks of strange shapes, and many glowing herbs grew in the crevices of the rock. Wu Ming used his Eye of Insight to search. The first thing he found was a long green glowing herb that looked like glass shard. Found it, the glass thorn. Wu Ming smiled. He quickly took out some tools to dig out the nearest glass thorn and put it away. Next, there were 3 more herbs. The others were digging for the herbs around. Huang Sanba and Intong were no exception. They didn't let go of anything that was mature and could be taken away. All of a sudden, Wu Ming felt his scalp tingling, as if something was watching him from the dark. He quickly lowered his voice and shouted, "Quick, get into the battle formation. There are beasts lurking in the dark." That wasn't just a verbal statement. It was a fact. The ghost cat, which had been invisible all this time, had night vision. It had seen that there was a strange beast lurking in the vines, and the distance between them was shrinking. What can happen? The red-haired beast tamer didn't think it was a big deal. But he and his pets went to Huang Sanba, Yintong, and Wu Ming at once, looking around vigilantly. Whoosh! At this moment a shadow launched an attack. As a flying pet, the mountain eagle couldn't move freely in such a narrow space. A red shadow bumped into it first. The mountain eagle howled and fell to the ground. Its feathers were all over the ground. Luckily, it was still alive. My mountain eagle! The middle-aged man's heart ached. Strong light! Wu Ming took out a large light bulb at once and raised it over his head to illuminate the entire cave. Everyone saw a strange figure squatting in a corner of the cave. It was like a firework. It had 3 tails and a red human face. Its expression was stiff as it looked at everyone. Wu Ming stared at the figure and obtained its information. Type: red-faced mad demon, a level. Grade E, elementary. Talents: E-Shadow, F-Speed, 30 meters per second, F-Stab. This was a genuine E-Class vicious beast. The E-Shadow was the red-faced mad demon's companion talent. Naturally, it would become an E-rank beast when it reached adulthood. As for why it had the F-Speed and F-Stab attributes, Wu Ming didn't know. Buzzing. The red-faced mad demon used its E-rank talent, Shadow, again. It turned into a shadow and flew close to the ground. Like a bone spur, the red-faced mad demon bumped into Yintong, who was standing next to Wu Ming. Roar! The night viper swung its long tail. The tail lashed at the red-faced mad demon like a steel whip. The red-faced mad demon was knocked away. The rocks on the ground turned into 2 spikes and shot out like arrows. Crack! The mighty bear smashed the rock spikes with its paw. Attack! Yintong shouted. The other beast tamers communicated with their pets right away and formed a circle. Some of them cut the red-faced mad demon with their daggers, some breathed out frost, and some shot out blazing lasers from their eyes. All the attacks landed on the red-faced mad demon. Roar! The red-faced mad demon wanted to hide. However, right at that moment, an invisible claw slashed across and split the red-faced mad demon in half. The 2 halves fell to the ground and blood gushed out. What happened? The other beast tamers were dumbfounded. Well, the mighty bear's claw is stained with blood. It seems that it accidentally split the E-rank beast in half. While they were discussing, they noticed that the mighty bear's right front claw was stained with blood. Even Huang Sanba and the mighty bear were confused. After a while, the 2 of them understood and looked at Wu Ming. Shoo! Wu Ming gestured for them to keep quiet. Of course, it was the ghost cat that secretly attacked the red-faced mad demon. As for the blood on the mighty bear's claw, it was the ghost cat that did it to confuse the public. At the moment, everyone thought that it was the mighty bear that did it. They had no idea that there was a pet at the peak of the F rank hiding in the dark. Chapter 62. Since it was Huang Sanba's mighty bear that killed this E-level beast, its body belongs to Huang Sanba. Let's keep looking for herbs, Yintong said. The others nodded in agreement. Brother Wu, here you go. Huang Sanba handed the red-faced mad demon to Wu Ming. The latter didn't refuse. Wu Ming took out the E-level beast core and threw the red-faced mad demon to the ground. He had finished the conversion and gained 55 evolution points. He didn't need the red-faced mad demon's body anymore. The others didn't notice this. They were all busy picking herbs. 10 minutes later, everyone left the cave and went to the next location. Along the way, they would see pieces of human bones and clothes. These should be the members of other exploration teams who died in battle. How tragic! Huang Sanba expressed his sympathy. Usually, exploration teams were made up of ordinary people. Even if they were wearing combat suits, they didn't have pets above the F level. If they ran into beasts that were more agile or beasts that were good at sneak attacks or poisons, they would die for sure. However, for the sake of their livelihood, they had to take risks and come out to pick herbs. It's all for the sake of living, Wu Ming exclaimed. If he didn't have the system or pets, he would have been wandering the streets by now. Just the thought of it was terrifying. Huang Samba stood next to Yin Tong and whispered to her while looking at the map, "Brother Wu, there is a black rock in front of us. Black light grass is growing on it. It's just right for you." "Okay." Wu Ming nodded. The red-haired beast tamer frowned. "That black rock is more than 10 meters tall. It's surrounded by a dense forest. The black light grass grows in the cracks between the rock. It's hard to find them. Besides, I think there's a poisonous beehive nearby. It's not a good idea to mess with it." "Woof, woof, woof!" Little Tyrant barked as if it was saying that it could burn the poisonous beehive with fire. The other beast tamer's eyes glowed. Little Tyrant was not an adult yet. But, unless it was a beast above the F level, no one could survive its flames. Average poisonous bees were not a threat at all. However, the key now was to determine the exact location of the nest. "Be careful. The queen bee seems to have mutated into an F-class dire beast. Its stinger is very sharp. It can easily pierce through our combat suits," Silvereye warned. "Understood." The others nodded. Everyone spread out and cautiously approached the black rock. Little Tyrant followed by Wu Ming's side, constantly vigilant of their surroundings. His big, watery eyes were filled with seriousness and focus. The ghost cat was always invisible. It was like a hunter in the dark. Emotionless, cold, taciturn, only obeying orders. Buzz, 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 the sound of the poisonous bee flapping its wings could be heard. Wu Ming noticed a few poisonous bees flying nearby. Each of them was as big as a thumb, and the stingers on their buttocks were like red-hot steel needles. It was very scary. "Poochie!" Little Tyrant waved its paw. The poisonous bees that were about to pounce on Wu Ming were cut into pieces and fell to the ground. Although it was not an adult yet, Little Tyrant had F-level speed, F-level defense, F-level self-healing, and many other talents. It was an experienced F-level pet with strong combat abilities. Of course, it was still not experienced enough. But with Wu Ming's command, it would not be a problem. "Ghost Cat, go and find out the exact location of the nest," Wu Ming ordered through the pet contract. Ghost Cat took graceful steps and snuck into the nearby forest. Soon, it found the nest on an old tree stump. It was a super hive that was bigger than a water tank. There were many poisonous bees the size of a thumb on its surface. If an average person was stung, the venom would paralyze their nerves within 3 seconds, causing them to be paralyzed. Then, they would fall into a coma and die. Even a dire beast would die if it was injected with a large amount of venom. What a big hive! Wu Ming pushed aside the leaves and saw the nest. He quickly took out his walkie-talkie and whispered, "I found the nest. It's big, like a fortress." The others heard the sound and were about to come over. "Ah!" All of a sudden, a beast tamer screamed, "Oh no, I'm in the steel shell ant's nest. I need backup, crack." There was a sound like countless iron nails piercing into a combat suit. Then, the beast tamer screamed again. In less than 3 seconds, there was no more sound. Wu Ming didn't dare to move, because the beast tamer had made too much noise. The poisonous bees had flown out of the nest. There were tens of thousands of them, like a swarm of locusts passing through. "Woof, woof, woof!" Little Tyrant barked. Its body began to expand and turned into a 1-meter-tall Cerberus. The 3 heads spewed out blazing flames at the same time, burning a large number of poisonous bees to death in an instant. However, there were too many poisonous bees. They kept flying out of the nest, all pouncing towards Little Tyrant. Every one of them was very fast, like countless darts, arriving in the blink of an eye. Fortunately, Little Tyrant's combat strength was stronger after transforming. Its 3 dog heads spat out flames in different directions, burning all the poisonous bees that were flying in from all directions. Then, the 3 mouthfuls of flames focused on the poisonous beehive, burning it into ashes. Even the queen bee was burned to death. There were still dozens of poisonous bees flying in the air, but they were all slashed apart by the ghost cat's sharp claws. None of them could get within 3 meters of Wu Ming. Only then did Wu Ming have the time to run towards the steel shell ant's nest. When Wu Ming arrived at the scene, he only saw a skeleton lying in a pile of sand. The surface was covered with countless peanut-sized steel shell ants. The toughness of these ants was comparable to steel, and their strength was shocking. They could even bite through ordinary steel bars. Their combat strength was terrifying. Fortunately, Little Tyrant's flames were very hot. Thousands of steel shell ants were burned to ashes in a flash. He's actually dead. The red-haired beast tamer brought the spirit monkey to the vicinity. Looking at the skeleton, he could not help but feel sad. That was an F-grade beast tamer. In the end, because he accidentally fell into the steel shell ant's nest, he could not escape in time and was eaten by countless steel shell ants, becoming a skeleton. The silver-eyed beast tamer, the middle-aged beast tamer, and the others also gathered. Looking at their dead teammate, they felt sad. Being a beast master is such a dangerous path. We might still be chatting happily 1 second ago, but in the next, our teammate might be reduced to a pile of bones, the red-haired beastmaster lamented, bowing to the pile of bones. Rest in peace. The other beast tamers also sighed. Although their teammate had died, the mission still had to continue. After Wu Ming and the others dealt with the poisonous hive and the steel shell ant's nest, they finally arrived at the Black Rock safely. Realizing that there was no longer any danger here, they began to harvest the herbs. Now there were only 6 of them left. This meant that all the mature herbs only had to be divided into 6 portions. Everyone would get a little more than before. However, no one was happy about this. Chapter 63. In the wild, the more beast tamers there were, the better. The more people there were, the more pets there were, and the safer it would be. A 1-meter-tall F-grade boxing kangaroo stood next to the steel-armored ant's nest. It looked at the skeleton with tears streaming down its face. That was its master. Now, its master had passed away. It had also been bitten by the steel-armored ants and had become a stray pet. It could choose to follow Wu Ming and the others back to the Garan castle and look for its next master. Or, it could wander in the wild and gradually regain its wildness and become a terrifying beast. Bang! The boxing kangaroo smashed a huge rock on the ground and buried the skeleton. It took a deep look at the area and then disappeared into the dense forest. In the end, it chose to become a beast. Under the black rock, Wu Ming found a black herb that looked similar to daffodils. However, the entire leaf was light black, as if it had been dyed with ink. On the surface of the leaf, there was a lot of fluorescent light shining brightly. Found it. This is the black bright grass. Wu Ming was pleased. As long as he could find the remaining 2 herbs, he would be able to make 2 sets of E-grade evolution food to ensure that the ghost cat could successfully advance to the E-grade. Apart from the black bright grass, there were many other precious herbs. In addition, there were some special ores that were also important raw materials for the evolution food. Wu Ming put them all away. The group packed up and began to hurry to the next location. With the lesson learned from the previous incident, they walked at a slower pace and were always alert to any hidden dangers around them. Soon, Wu Ming noticed that the surface of the ground had become barren. He looked up and saw a small volcano that was more than 10 meters tall not far away. Lava flowed around it, nurturing a strange dark green ore that looked like a succulent plant. Huang Samba pointed at the ores that looked like plants and said to Wu Ming, "That's the fire bone chalcedony. Little Tyrant, are you afraid of fire?" Wu Ming patted the little tyrant that had shrunk into a small black dog. Woof woof woof. Little tyrant held his head high like a mighty general. He took nimble steps and crossed the scorching magma. He jumped beside a fire chalcedony and brought it back with his mouth. Well done. Wu Ming smiled and patted the dog's head. Soon, little tyrant returned with a few more flaming chalcedonies. The middle-aged beast master who owned the mountain eagle also had the mountain eagle fly over and pick up 2 stalks with its beak, preparing to head to the next location. Let's go. Wu Ming put away the fire bone jade essence. All that was missing was the turtle and snake gallbladder. This was a type of medicinal herb. It grew near the F-class dire beast tortoise snake, and its appearance resembled a snake's gallbladder, hence its name. This kind of medicinal herb had great medicinal value. Of course, with the protection of the tortoise snake, it was also very difficult to harvest them. Although I'm still missing the last ingredient, I can already concoct the evolution food for the E-class King Kong Talon. Once I get the tortoise snake gallbladder, I can concoct the E-class rapid food. Wu Ming looked around. He wanted to find a place to rest, so that he could secretly concoct the E-class King Kong Talon food, so that the ghost cat could advance to the E-class. Unfortunately, the team had to move on to the next location. Besides, the terrain was open and there was no shelter. It was not safe. At the moment, the sky was darkening. It began to rain in the Heaven Abyss Canyon. Fortunately, everyone was wearing combat suit. They could fight against wild beasts without relying on their pet. A little rain was nothing. Silver Eye looked into the distance that was filled with mist. She felt that the canyon was like a bloody mouth that was waiting for its prey to walk into the trap. It was a horrifying sight. It's getting late. Let's find a cave to rest. Silver Eye chose to rest. The Heaven Abyss Canyon was dangerous at night. If they continued to walk, they could be discovered by huge beasts. They might even be surrounded by countless beasts. Even if they could fly, they might not be able to escape. Okay, let's take a break. Wu Ming was happy. He was worried that he wouldn't have time to concoct the evolution food. Now, he finally had the chance. There was a small canyon nearby. Based on the map drawn by their predecessors, Silver Eye found a cave that was 15 meters deep. The 6 of them hid inside. After making sure that the deepest part was safe, Wu Ming sat down on a rock. Bang! A loud sound was heard. The red-haired beast tamer opened the inflatable tent and hid inside with his spirit monkey. They ate and rested for a while. Bang, 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 everyone took out their inflatable tent. Not even bullets could penetrate this kind of tent. It was very tough. When put away, it would only be the size of a palm. However, when quickly inflated, it could become a small tent that was 2 meters long, 1 meter wide, and 1 meter high. It was very safe. Wu Ming and Little Tyrant sat in the tent, and the corners of their lips curled up slightly. It's time to concoct the E-class King Kong Talon food. Wu Ming told Huang Sanba not to disturb him and began to work. The concoction process went smoothly. In less than 3 minutes, Wu Ming weighed, chopped, and ground the herbs and placed them in the reactor. 15 evolution points were deducted. The herb powder emitted a faint golden glow and gradually condensed into 100 golden evolution food the size of soybeans. A rich aroma began to spread. Little Tyrant smelled the aroma and wanted to take a bite. However, Wu Ming poured the evolution food into a wooden basin. Under Little Tyrant's stunned gaze, the evolution food in the wooden basin slowly decreased until it was dumbfounded. With its current intelligence, it would never have guessed that there was a ghost cat that could turn invisible in the dark. It felt like it was watching a magic show. After a while, the ghost cat finished eating the evolution food. Its body broke out of its invisible state and appeared in Little Tyrant's sight. Woof, woof, woof! Little Tyrant barked in surprise. Brother Wu, are you okay? Huang Sanba quickly shouted from next door. I'm fine, Wu Ming said. He reached out and hugged Little Tyrant. He stroked the dog's head to stop it from barking. He quietly looked at the netherworld cat as it lay on the ground. Its body became even more slender and light, just like a fierce leopard. The biggest change was the ghost cat's 4 sharp claws. At first glance, they seemed to be dyed in gold, becoming harder and sharper. A light claw could cut through super alloy steel. Even if it was a grade F defense, it would be as fragile as tofu in front of the grade E diamond claws. Finally, the transformation is successful. Wu Ming let out a long sigh. The ghost cat raised its head and looked at him in the eye. Its body gradually became transparent until it could no longer be seen. Woof woof woof. Little Tyrant blinked and realized that the ghost cat had disappeared. Its eyes were filled with shock and confusion. It then raised its head and looked at Wu Ming. This is the talent of invisibility. Wu Ming moved closer to Little Tyrant and whispered in its ear. Because of the soundproofing of the tent, no one else could hear him. Of course, Little Tyrant didn't understand what invisibility was. It just stood there with its eyes wide open, as if it was stuck in a difficult problem. The ghost cat had advanced to the grade E pet. Although it was only at the beginner stage, with its many talents, it could crush any grade F pet. Among the grade E pets, the ghost cat could be considered an expert. Wu Ming ate a piece of biscuit, looking satisfied. Chapter 64. Ding. Congratulations to the host for successfully training his first-class E-pet. The host is one step closer to unlocking the middle rank store. The reward is the special talent, Early Warning. The system beeped. Then, he noticed that his hands were burning hot. There was a light blue aura flowing out from his hands, which converged into a blue capsule in the air. Ding. This is the Early Warning capsule. After taking it, the host will gain the talent Early Warning. The host will be able to keenly perceive nearby sources of danger. Additional. The perceived danger will only be limited to the host. The system beeped. Its meaning was clear. After gaining the talent Early Warning, Wu Ming could sense any danger to himself, but only to himself. He could not sense danger to others. For example, if someone wanted to assassinate Huang Sanba, Wu Ming could not sense it. He could only sense it when the danger was directed at him. Wu Ming held the blue capsule with a strange expression. It was not that he did not trust the system. It was just that the blue capsule looked similar to something else. How embarrassing! Still, Wu Ming ate it. As the blue capsule went down his stomach, he felt burning hot all over, as if he had been soaked in boiling water. He almost cried out in pain. He was sweating profusely. A few seconds later, Wu Ming lay on the ground and fell asleep. Early the next morning, Wu Ming woke up. He smelled of sweat all over his body. He wished he could find a pool to take a shower. However, after taking the blue capsule, he found that he did not feel anything special, except that he felt more relaxed. The blue capsule won't do, Wu Ming mumbled. He took his things out of the tent and pressed the gas release button. The entire tent was released in 10 seconds. It automatically folded into a palm-sized cube that could be put into his backpack. Brother Wu, good morning. Huang Sanba woke up as well. He hurried to pack up. Yin Tong's tent had been put away. She was standing in front of the cave with her arms crossed. Looking at the rosy sky, she said, "It's a sunny day today. It should go well." "Let's hope so," the middle-aged beastmaster muttered. Zhuoshandiao beside him called out, appearing to be in high spirits. The last beast tamer was a bald, burly man. His pet was a one-eyed wolf. It was as big as a tiger. "Hurry up and eat breakfast. Let's try to finish the mission before nightfall and then leave Tianyuan Canyon." Silvereye looked at the backpack on her back and found that it was already bulging and could not hold much. Other than the tortoise-snake gallbladder that Wu Ming also needed, the beastmasters present all had their own missions. They had to get the things their bosses wanted. Now that there was still a day left, it was obviously very rushed. Everyone hurriedly packed up their things, ate their breakfast, and continued on their way. As for going to the toilet and other problems, they had already been solved. The middle section of the Heavenly Abyss Canyon was lush with vegetation. Even though they were wearing combat uniforms made from ferocious beast hide, Wu Ming and his group did not dare to let down their guard. If they fell into the nest of a ferocious beast like the steel shell ant, unless they were wearing an E-grade combat uniform, there was no hope of survival. Walala, from the distance came the sound of a waterfall crashing into a pool. We are here. The tortoise snake pool is right in front of us. The tortoise snake gallbladder we need is there. But there is a tortoise snake guarding the area. It will be difficult to harvest it. Yin Tong communicated with the others through the walkie-talkie in her helmet. Don't worry. There are 6 of us. It will be a piece of cake to deal with the F-grade tortoise snake. The red-haired beast tamer seemed to be more confident. The tortoise snake was only an F-grade ferocious beast. However, it was born with an F-grade talent called tortoise protection. Therefore, it naturally became an F-grade ferocious beast when it reached adulthood. Even though it was only an F-grade talent, its defensive ability was at the top of the F-grade. It was not weaker than the average E-grade defensive means. Apart from the tortoise protection, which was comparable to an E-grade talent, it only had an F-grade talent called Water Arrow. Among all the F-grade ferocious beasts, this talent was the weakest. If it were not for its strong defensive ability, it might not even be able to defeat an elite F-grade pet. Don't let down your guard. Yin Tong hurried to give him a heads-up. Yes. The red-haired beast tamer nodded. 10 minutes later, the 6 of them were crouching by a pool with a radius of 30 meters. They were looking at the cave behind the waterfall. They could see a giant tortoise with a diameter of 1 meter. It was grayish-white in color and seemed to be quite hard. That was the F-grade tortoise snake. On the wall behind the tortoise snake, there were many things that looked like lantern grass, similar to snake gallbladders. Those were the tortoise snake gallbladders. Yin Tong observed through the binoculars and gave the results of her analysis. It was exciting. Target and prey have been found. After a rough analysis, the total number of tortoise snake gallbladders is 30. Each of us can have 5 gallbladders. The premise is that we have to cross the unknown water and kill the F-grade tortoise snake. 5 tortoise snake gallbladders. That would be worth at least 100,000 pet coins. They had made a profit. Come up with a plan. I can't wait. The red-haired beast tamer rubbed his hands, eager to give it a try. Whose pet can swim? Or can it maintain its combat strength above 80% when it enters the water? Yin Tong asked. The bald beast tamer said, My lone wolf can. Huang Samba said, So can my mighty bear. Wu Ming patted the dog's head and said, Little Tyrant can go into the water, but its talent for fire will be greatly affected. The red-haired beast tamer smiled. My spirit monkey can go into the water, but its combat strength will be greatly reduced. It is more suitable for fighting in the forest. The middle-aged beast tamer said in a deep voice, My Zhua Shandiao will be lucky to have 50% of its combat strength left after entering the water. Yin Tong came up with a plan at once. Mighty Bear and Lone Wolf will go into the water to attract the tortoise snake's attention. The Zhua Shandiao will fly over the water with Little Tyrant and launch a sneak attack from behind. 4 F-grade pets should be able to kill the F-grade tortoise snake. As for the rest of the spirit beasts and my night viper, they will stay with us to protect us. Beast tamers would be in danger when their pets went out to fight. Therefore, at the very least, 2 pets should stay with them. In case of danger, they could buy some time until the other pets came back. That's a good plan. Wu Ming was the first to agree. I think so too. Huang Sanba and Wu Ming were in the same boat. Since Wu Ming had agreed, Huang Sanba would not object. The other 3 thought about it and agreed. Splash! Mighty Bear and Lone Wolf jumped into the water at the same time. They were 3 meters away from the waterfall, brazenly attracting the tortoise snake's attention. Hiss, hiss. The tortoise snake was lying in the cave behind the waterfall. It poked its head out and stared coldly at Mighty Bear and Lone Wolf with its golden eyes. It did not move. Instead, it stayed where it was. How cautious! Everyone frowned. They had to admit that the tortoise snake was very vigilant. Chapter 65. Roar! The mighty bear slapped the surface of the water with its paws, bellowing provocatively. Lone Wolf was howling as well, but the tortoise serpent remained still. Tortoise serpent was indeed a tortoise. Therefore, the mighty bear and Lone Wolf swam over. Soon, they reached the opposite shore and attacked the tortoise serpent from both sides. As a tortoise, the tortoise serpent was very cautious. It shrank its head and increased its defense to the maximum, fending off the mighty bear and Lone Wolf's attacks with ease. Suppress it. Little Tyrant and Zhuoshandiao, go and collect the tortoise serpent's gallbladders. Silver Eye took the opportunity to issue a new order. Whoosh! Zhuoshandiao flew out. In less than a second, it had crossed the pool and entered the cave from the side of the waterfall. It put down Little Tyrant. Woof, woof, woof! Little Tyrant jumped up and put the 30 tortoise serpent's gallbladders into a wooden box. It closed the box and was picked up by Zhuoshandiao to fly back to the others. The tortoise serpent's gallbladders were in their hands. That went well. Not even Wu Ming expected this. But then again, it made sense. The tortoise serpent's defense was strong, but it was facing 6 pets of the same rank. It could do nothing but defend itself. If the tortoise serpent's gallbladders were an F-rank pet, it would not have been so easy to get them. Big Bear, come back! Big Eagle, come back! Huang Sanba and the middle-aged beast tamer hurried to call it. The 6 of them divided up the gallbladders and continued on their way. Along the way, Wu Ming wanted to find a place to concoct the E-rank food. But the red-haired beast tamer, Silver Eye, and the others wanted to go deeper. They had other tasks. Brother Wu, are you thirsty? Huang Sanba asked. No. Wu Ming shook his head. Right then, Silver Eye pointed to a bird's nest on the edge of the cliff and stopped abruptly. Wu Ming happened to bump into her. The two of them quickly distanced themselves. Sorry. Wu Ming was embarrassed. I stopped too quickly. Yintong's expression changed slightly. She pointed to the nest on the cliff and said, That's the nest of the dragon swallow. There will be the dragon swallow mushroom we need near the nest. It's a very precious medicinal material, worth 10,000 yuan per gram. Long Yen is only an F-grade ferocious beast, but we can't beat it on the cliff. The red-haired beast tamer shrugged. Yintong looked at him. Your spirit beast is good at climbing, and you have the help of this mountain eagle. The dark night viper can also help. 3 against 1, and it's just picking the dragon swallow mushroom. It's not a big problem. All right. The group quickly reached a consensus. This time, it was Little Tyrant, Mighty Bear, and Lone Wolf's turn to stay on the ground to protect the 6 beast tamers. The other 3 pets quickly set off. The mountain eagle flew, while the night venomous snake and the spirit monkey climbed. On the ground, Wu Ming looked around. Ever since he ate the blue capsule and obtained the early warning talent, he had never discovered any danger. He thought that he had made a mistake. Maybe there's no danger at all, Wu Ming muttered. On the cliff that was more than 100 meters high, the 3 pets soon arrived at the Long Yan's nest, only to find that the Long Yan was not there. Instead, there were some small golden mushrooms growing around the nest. The spirit monkey held the bag in one hand and kept picking with the other. Soon, it finished picking all the dragon swallow mushrooms and went back to the ground. That went well. Yintong was surprised. In the next few hours, the team of beast tamers was still moving forward. Finally, they arrived at the second half of the Deep Heaven Valley. There was a large forest ahead of them. It was very dangerous. How about we call it a day? We have almost finished our mission. Yintong wanted to leave. They had basically picked all the herbs they needed in the super affordable store. It was not against the rules to go back at this time. After all, the herbs that the other beast tamers picked later would belong to them. No, I still need the jade dragon incense. The middle-aged beast tamer shook his head and pointed to the dense forest. You must go to the center of the forest and help me get the jade dragon incense. Seeing that no one else was moving, the middle-aged beast tamer said in a hurry, After we get the jade dragon incense, we will share it equally. You won't lose anything. The bald man pointed to the forest and said with a serious face, There is a horrifying red dragon, a senior E-level beast. Who dares to go there? The silver-eyed beast tamer and the red-haired beast tamer both nodded. The most famous beast in the deep heaven valley was the E-level red dragon. It was a winged dragon that was more than 10 meters tall and covered in red scales. It could breathe fire and fly. Its claws were sharp. It had E-level defense and E-level flames. It also had several F-level talent. Among all the E-level beasts, the red dragon was one of the best. The 6 pets had to protect the beast tamers and fight at the same time. They were no match for the red dragon. Not even Wu Ming wanted to go in. Of course, if the ghost cat could be deployed with an E-level speed, it would be able to fight the red dragon alone. 1 gram of jade dragon incense costs 800,000. Are you sure you don't want it? The middle-aged beast tamer was anxious. Let's work together. We will run as soon as we steal the jade dragon incense. It's just past noon. The red dragon must have just eaten and is taking a nap. This is our best chance. Wu Ming raised his eyebrows. 800,000 for 1 gram. That was expensive. What is the jade dragon incense used for? Why is it so expensive? Wu Ming asked curiously. The jade dragon incense is the saliva of the red dragon. It falls on a stalactite in the center of the forest and forms a special medicine. It can promote the evolution of pets. It is said that some evolutionary food can improve all the talents of pets by 1 level. The jade dragon incense is one of the raw materials needed, Yin Tong explained. But the jade dragon incense is protected by the red dragon. There is no way we can steal it. That's tricky. Wu Ming's eyes flickered. He looked at a spot on the ground. The invisible ghost cat was lying there lazily. The ghost cat could steal the jade dragon incense, but he couldn't tell them this method. None of you are willing to help? The middle-aged beast tamer frowned as if he was thinking. In the end, he took out a photo. This is the gray stone. Our Chamber of Commerce has 100 grams. If you can help, I can persuade the Chamber of Commerce to sell you 1/3 of it. Gray stone. All the rest of the people were shocked. Even Wu Ming's eyes widened and he was interested. Wu Ming had learned about the gray stone when he was looking for information. The gray stone came from outer space and had magical powers. If it was made into a collar and worn on a pet, it could accelerate their evolution and make them full of energy every day. Besides, there was a chance that a new talent could be born. The price of 1 gram of gray stone was more than 100,000 pet coins. There was a price but no supply. It was hard to find. If that is the case, I think we can do it again. Yin Tong was tempted. She was not the only one. Huang Sanba, the red-haired beast tamer, the bald beast tamer, and Wu Ming all had the same idea. Chapter 66. Since we have gray origin stones, we can help you this time. The red-haired beast tamer said, but after this is done, your company must promise to sell us at least 3 grams of gray origin stones. That's right, at least 3 grams. The bald beast tamer nodded. What about the others? The middle-aged beast tamer looked around. No problem. The others nodded. Just like that, everyone agreed to work together to steal the jade dragon incense. As for robbing, that would be courting death. Let's rest for 30 minutes and then go in, Yin Tong said. Hearing this, Wu Ming was happy. He finally found a chance to mix level E rapid food. As long as he could add another level E talent to the ghost cat, its combat ability would skyrocket. By then, even if they were to face the red dragon head-on, they might not be able to kill it, but they would be able to escape easily and not fall into a passive situation. In a dense forest, the 6 of them set up a tent. Although it was only a short rest, lying in the tent was more comfortable. They could quickly enter a state of rest and replenish their energy. Wu Ming sat in the tent. He placed all kinds of raw materials on the ground, carefully weighed, chopped, and ground them. Then, he put all of them into the reactor. I hope there won't be any problems. Wu Ming held the reaction cauldron and deducted 15 evolution points. The materials began to melt and react with each other, turning into a golden color. Soon, they turned into a pale golden liquid. Then, they gradually hardened and turned into 100 golden evolution food. Success! Wu Ming took a deep breath and poured the materials in the reactor into the dog bowl for the invisible ghost cat to eat. Little Tyrant watched eagerly. It really wanted to eat, but Wu Ming's stare made it feel wronged. It lay on the ground and watched quietly. After eating the level E rapid food, the ghost cat finally reacted. Its body became perfectly streamlined. All 4 of its feet turned silver white. When it walked, it could be wrapped in a gust of wind, forming a special shield that could block many attacks. The ghost cat had 2 level E talent. It went from a beginner level E pet to an experienced one. I've finally advanced again. Wu Ming put away everything and sat down. He looked at the time and realized that there were still 15 minutes before the attack on the forest would begin. He quickly took a nap. The ghost cat remained invisible. More human-like colors appeared in its eyes. It was like a heroic hunter, lurking in the dark all the time, waiting for Wu Ming's orders. Everyone, we've combined. 15 minutes later, Yin Tong's voice came from the walkie-talkie. Everyone packed up within a minute and stood in front of the lush forest, looking at the primeval forest that was more than 10 kilometers in length and width. It's very dangerous inside. There are many F-class dire beasts. Don't let your guard down. As for the most dangerous red dragon, it's guarding the cave in the middle of the forest. After we enter, there's only one way out. Remember that. Yin Tong took out a map and reminded them. Understood. Everyone nodded. Although the primeval forest was not very big, it had all the essentials. There were moss, ferns, dense bushes, and countless animals all over the place. Less than 300 meters into the forest, they encountered an F-class dire beast, a giant snake. However, when the dire beast sensed the presence of 6 F-class dire beasts, it turned around and ran away. It did not have the courage to confront Wu Ming and the others. The journey forward was smooth. The 6 F-class dire beasts were no worse than 1 E-class dire beast. Everywhere they went, many dire beasts retreated. Half an hour later, Wu Ming and the others arrived at the center of the primeval forest. There were more than a dozen red fir trees that were dozens of meters tall. The thickest part of the tree trunk had a diameter of more than 3 meters. In the middle of the trees, there was a small hill protruding from the ground. It was like a tomb. The hill was 30 meters tall, and the base had a diameter of 50 meters. Many trees were growing on and around the hill. The trees were verdant and lush, but no living creatures could get close to the hill. Because, to the south of the hill, there was a cave that led to the underground. The red dragon, a horrifying E-class dire beast, lived there. The red dragon's lair is in there, and so is the jade dragon incense. The cave is about 100 meters deep, and it is dark inside. We have to make sure that the red dragon is resting before we can go in. Yin Tong took out a hand-drawn map. The map was drawn by an expedition team in the past. At least a dozen excellent explorers had been sacrificed in order to obtain the map of the cave. How can you be sure that the red dragon is resting? The bald beast tamer asked. My pet, the night viper, is small in size. Let it go in and check the situation first. The red dragon doesn't have a keen sense of smell. Unless we make a big noise, we won't be discovered. Een Tong released the night viper. Whoosh! Like a flash of black lightning, the night viper dashed into the cave. Relying on the connection between her and the night viper, Een Tong closed her eyes at once. As if telepathy, she quickly gained the night viper's vision. In the darkness, the night viper was crawling at a high speed. It was soundless, like a ghost. It was spooky. The night viper had good eyesight. It could see clearly even in the dark. Een Tong's vision was connected to the night viper's vision. Soon, she saw the inside of the cave. In the deepest part of the cave, a huge pterosaur was lying there. It was crimson all over and was emitting a faint glow that lit up the surroundings. The red dragon's huge eyes were closed. It seemed that the red dragon was resting and did not notice the night viper's arrival. The red dragon's chin was resting on a stalactite. Its saliva was dripping down from the corners of its mouth and seeping into the surface of the stalactite. The saliva and saliva combined to form a thin layer of jade dragon incense. We found the jade dragon incense. The red dragon is indeed sleeping, but it is using the stalactite as a pillow. Once we scrape the jade dragon incense away from the stalactite, the red dragon will be alerted. The success rate is close to 0. Een Tong told him the information she had seen. Can we have the night viper shake off a mouthful of the jade dragon incense and run away immediately? The middle-aged beast tamer asked. No, at such a short distance, the night viper will definitely be burned to death by the red dragon's flames or be slapped to death. We can't take the risk, Een Tong immediately objected. How about this? We will make some noise outside and lure the red dragon out. When it is halfway, the night viper will quickly collect the jade dragon incense, Wu Ming suggested. When everyone heard this, they felt that it was a good idea. The red dragon's sense of smell was not sensitive. They would hide in advance and wait for the red dragon to come out. The night viper would then sneak in. This way, the success rate would be higher. Roar! However, at this moment, a deafening roar came from the sky. At the next moment, a black pterosaur with a wingspan of several tens of meters descended from the sky and landed in front of the cave, causing the ground to tremble violently. Inside the cave, the red dragon suddenly opened its eyes and opened its mouth, letting out an angry roar. It immediately ran outside and quickly came to the entrance of the cave. One black and one red, two E-level dire beasts were eyeing the cave covetously. Chapter 67. Looking at the two dragons standing opposite each other on the ground, everyone was stunned. There is an E-level beast. This looks like a black dragon. Why haven't there been any records of it before? The black dragon and the red dragon are fighting. What should we do? Run. Wu Ming and the others retreated quickly. Those were two E-level beasts. They were no match for them. Even with the help of the 6 F-level battle pets and the ghost cat, they might not be able to win. What bad luck! The middle-aged beast tamer sighed. The jade dragon incense that was so close to being in his hands was disturbed by this black dragon. How unlucky! Roar! The red dragon was the first to get angry. It opened its mouth and breathed out a flame that was dozens of meters long. It could even melt steel. The black dragon let out a mocking sound. It spat out a black and gray icy liquid from its mouth. It could actually freeze everything around it. Wherever it passed, even the red dragon's flames were extinguished. Wu Ming had run more than 100 meters away. He crouched behind a huge tree and took a deep breath. He secretly poked his head out and used his eye of insight to check the information of the black dragon and the red dragon. Type: Red Dragon rank, E-level senior, talents, E-level fire, E-level defense, F-level rage, F-level sharp claws, F-level speed, 33 meters per second. That was the information of the red dragon. Type: Black Dragon rank, E-level senior, talents, E-level ice, E-level defense, F-level rage, F-level sharp claws, F-level speed, 34 meters per second. That was the information of the black dragon. Wu Ming noticed that the information of the two dragons was basically the same. Of course, apart from the fact that one was red and the other was black, one had an E-level fire talent and the other had an E-level ice talent. They were evenly matched. Could they be twins? Wu Ming thought to himself. The two dragons only had one talent that was different. The rest were the same. They really were twins. Boom. In the open space outside the small hill, the two dragons were colliding. Their sharp claws kept scratching each other's bodies, making clanging sounds. The surrounding soil and trees were swept by the steel whip-like tail and crumbled on the spot like fragile tofu. How terrifying! These two E-class dire beasts together can definitely challenge a D-class dire beast. They really can't be provoked. The red-haired beast tamer and the bald beast tamer both swallowed their saliva. What should we do? Our jade dragon incense is gone. The middle-aged beast master was very depressed. He kept scratching his head, feeling like he was being targeted. This black dragon was really something. Why did it have to appear at this time, causing him to miss out on the jade dragon incense? Don't worry. My night viper hasn't returned yet. There's still a chance, Silver Eye said in a low voice. Everyone looked at her with surprise in their eyes. That's right. The dark night viper was still in the cave. This was an opportunity. Roar! At this time, the red dragon was pressed to the ground by the black dragon. Then, a scene that made Yintong blush with shame and made Wu Ming stunned appeared. They saw the black dragon pressing on the red dragon's body and starting the most primitive action, preparing to have children. So they're not twins, but two completely unrelated giant dragons. It seems like the black dragon wants to form a family with the red dragon and give birth to a baby dragon. Say, in a few months, when we come over, can we take a dragon egg with us? Huang Sanba chuckled. You're still joking at this time. Yintong spat. At this time, the black dragon and the red dragon were still working hard and did not have the time to care about other things. This made Wu Ming see an opportunity. Little tyrant, you go into the cave too. Take the opportunity to get the jade dragon incense, Wu Ming immediately ordered. Spiritual beast, you're small in size. You go too, the red-haired beast tamer also said. Whoosh! The little tyrant and the spirit monkey sprinted while sticking close to the ground. They silently entered the cave from behind the red dragon and black dragon that had forgotten their love. They found the dark night venomous snake and scraped off the layer of rock on the surface of the stalactite that had been modified by the red dragon's saliva. This was the jade dragon incense. There was only a thin layer. The three pets were fast. After they scraped off the rock, they put it in a wooden box. The whole process took less than 30 seconds. Then, they returned smoothly. We got it. Run. Yintong got about a few hundred grams of jade dragon incense. She quickly took the night viper and called out to Wu Ming and the others. They ran out of the primitive forest as fast as they could. The black dragon and the red dragon were still working. The whole process lasted for 2 hours. When the black dragon flew away, panting, the red dragon lay on the ground as if it was tired. It took a long time before it returned to the cave. Roar! A furious roar was heard, shaking the sky and the earth. More than 10 kilometers away. Wu Ming turned around and looked at the middle of the primitive forest. He breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, they ran fast and the black dragon had good endurance. Otherwise, if the red dragon had found them too early, they would not have been able to escape. Let's go. Let's go back to the parking spot at full speed. The middle-aged beast tamer was the fastest. He ran in the front while Zhuo Shandiao followed beside him. A few hours passed in the blink of an eye. Wu Ming and the others were very tired. However, at this time, they had climbed to the cliff of Tianyuan Canyon. Looking back at the magnificent scenery below and enjoying the cool evening breeze, they felt very comfortable. It's finally done. Next, show me the jade dragon incense. The red-haired beast tamer extended his hand to Intong. Intong thought for a while and opened the wooden box. Everyone looked at the small pile of colorful gravel in the box. They could smell a strong fragrance. It really is jade dragon incense. The red-haired beast tamer, the middle-aged beast tamer, and the bald beast tamer were all excited. This thing cost 800,000 yuan per gram. There were at least a few hundred grams of jade dragon incense in the box. After conversion, that was hundreds of millions. Is this thing really that expensive? Wu Ming frowned. He felt that the thing in the wooden box was very heavy. Let's take out the electronic balance now and divide the jade dragon incense, the middle-aged beast tamer suggested. Okay. Intong nodded. Just like that, they sat on the edge of the cliff and took out measuring tools. They found that the jade dragon incense they had obtained this time was 360 grams. On average, it was 60 grams for each of them. Hiss. Does this mean that the jade dragon incense I have is worth 48 million yuan? Huang Sanbo was shocked after a quick calculation. Of course. The red-haired beast tamer grinned. When we go back, I will hand in part of the jade dragon incense. I will make at least 30 million yuan, enough for me to train a pet of the E or D rank. Yes. When we go back, the 6 of us will have a bright future. The bald beast tamer put on a creepy smile. In the next second, Wu Ming felt his blood was freezing. His talent, warning, was working. Oh no. Danger! Wu Ming shouted. Bang! All of a sudden, a bomb exploded nearby. A terrifying shockwave swept out. Wu Ming was shaken to the point of vomiting blood. His whole body flew out and he was about to fall off the cliff. Chapter 68. Danger! Wu Ming warned again. He looked at the ground and realized he was already in midair. Flying at such an angle and speed, he would definitely fall off the cliff. Even if he was wearing a combat suit that could resist cuts, he would still fall to his death. The red-haired beast tamer cursed angrily after being blasted into the air. F***ck, he actually betrayed us. Screech. The middle-aged beast tamer's Shuoshandiao cried out in midair. Save me! The red-haired beast tamer hurriedly shouted. Poochie! The Shuoshandiao flew over. With a flash of its sharp claws, it cut the red-haired beast tamer in half, killing him instantly. Roar! The spirit monkey jumped over and grabbed the red-haired beast tamer. Its big eyes were filled with despair and sorrow. The two fell off the cliff together. In midair on the other side, Wu Ming and Yin Tong were very close to each other. The two subconsciously reached out and held each other tightly. They fell helplessly to the ground. Further away, Huang Sanba fell into the warm and broad arms of the mighty bear. The two fell off the cliff as well. No one knew if they were dead or alive. On the cliff, the bald beast tamer and the middle-aged beast tamer looked at each other. Looking at the jade dragon incense that was still at the edge of the cliff, they laughed sinisterly. Happy working with you. The two laughed maniacally. The middle-aged beast tamer looked down the cliff and said, Do you think they're still alive after falling off the cliff? Even if they're alive, they'll be crippled. Let's go down and finish them off, the bald beast tamer said with a smile. The middle-aged beast tamer nodded. In the next moment, he suddenly felt a chill in his chest. A huge wolf claw had pierced through his chest. The middle-aged beast tamer spat out blood and fell off the cliff as well. Screech. The Shuoshandiao in midair saw its master being killed. It immediately swooped down, ready to tear the bald beast tamer into pieces. However, it was pushed to the ground by the agile lone wolf. After a brief struggle, the Shuoshandiao's neck was bitten off by the lone wolf. It lost its life very quickly. It'll be night soon. Under such circumstances, it's impossible for someone who fell off the cliff to still be alive. The bald beast tamer sneered. He put away all of the jade dragon incense and took out a portion of it. He mixed it into a spray and sprinkled it down, forming an area overflowing with fragrance that attracted a large number of vicious beasts. This way they won't be able to survive. The bald beast tamer smiled proudly. In his opinion, Wu Ming, Yin Tong, and Huang Sanba must have fallen to their death. Even if they were lucky enough to survive, they would have been devoured by the ferocious beasts attracted by the jade dragon fragrance spray. He packed up everything and went to the parking spot, ready to leave. However, for some reason, the bald beast master felt that his surroundings were a little strange, as if someone was hiding in the shadows. "Who is it?" the bald beast tamer said in a deep voice. Plop! Lone Wolf suddenly slumped to the ground, foaming at the mouth. Clearly, he had been poisoned. My Lone Wolf! The bald beast tamer was shocked. That was an experienced F-rank pet. How could it be poisoned to death? What kind of poison was this? How could it be so horrifying? Squeak! There came the sound of high heels crushing fallen leaves. The bald beast tamer looked in the direction of the sound. He saw a tall and charming woman with green hair walking over in a catwalk. What a powerful method to be able to cause the deaths of 5 people. The green-haired woman extended her hand. A poisonous snake as thick as a thumb appeared in her palm. It was sticking out its tongue and approaching the bald beast tamer step by step. No! The bald beast tamer hurried to run away. However, the poisonous snake in the green-haired woman's palm suddenly flicked its tail. It extended infinitely, wrapped around his neck, and bit him. He collapsed to the ground, feeling dizzy. Now, tell me what happened. The green-haired woman stepped on the bald beast tamer's chest and demanded coldly. 10 minutes later, the green-haired woman took out a knife and finished off the bald beast tamer. She took all of the jade dragon incense, changed into a combat suit, put on a helmet, and looked at the heavenly abyss canyon. Wu Ming, Yin Tong, and Huang Sanba should still be alive. She murmured. That was her instinct as a woman. The next moment, she walked into the canyon. Using the F-grade pet rubber viper in her hand as a rope, she kept climbing down. In a daze, Wu Ming coughed. He opened his eyes and saw himself lying in a warm embrace. It was Yin Tong, who was looking at him with blurred eyes. We're not dead. Wu Ming was surprised. They fell from a height of hundreds of meters and were fine? There was a parachute and an air cushion on the back of my combat suit. They saved our lives at the critical moment, Yin Tong said weakly. Hearing that, Wu Ming understood. He looked around and saw that he and Yin Tong were tied together. The 3 pets, Night Viper, Ghost Cat, and Little Tyrant, were guarding around them. On the ground, there was an air cushion that was 1 meter tall and 5 meters in length and width. When he looked up, he could still see a damaged parachute. It was these 2 things that saved him and Yin Tong's lives. Cough, cough, cough. How much longer are you going to lie on me? Get off. Yin Tong said weakly. Okay, I'll get off you right away. As soon as he finished speaking, Wu Ming realized that there was something wrong with his words. Then, he saw that Yin Tong's face was red, as if she was shy. Let's take a look around first. Wu Ming got up from Yin Tong's body and looked around. There were many dead beasts and wild beasts lying around. Little Tyrant and the others must have taken care of them. Wu Ming rubbed his chest. Since he was fine, he hurried over to the beasts and wild beasts and secretly converted them, earning him 15 evolution points. What are you doing? Yin Tong cut off the rope of the parachute and looked at Wu Ming's strange behavior. She was very curious and asked casually. I'm checking to see if the beasts are dead, Wu Ming said casually. He looked around and realized that it was getting late. Besides, Huang Sanba was not around. I wonder if he's all right. Wu Ming clenched his fist. He looked at the edge of the cliff. His eyes were like 2 swords, filled with anger. Those 2 had planned this a long time ago. They used us to get the jade dragon incense and killed us as soon as we've outlived our usefulness. How sinister. Wu Ming gritted his teeth. Those 2 probably thought that we were dead, but they would never expect that I brought a parachute and an air cushion. Yin Tong was ready to go. With the double protection, she and Wu Ming were fine. I wonder how Huang Sanba is doing. Unfortunately, the walkie-talkie was hung outside the combat uniform when we were on the cliff. It was destroyed by the shockwave. Wu Ming was depressed. If the walkie-talkie was still there, he could at least try to contact Huang Sanba. Isn't a dog's nose very sensitive? Let little tyrant take us there. Maybe we can find traces of Huang Sanba. Yin Tong suggested. Wu Ming immediately looked at little tyrant. Can you smell Huang Sanba's scent? Woof woof woof. Little tyrant ran in circles and barked a few times. It seemed very excited. Let's go. Take us to him. Wu Ming ordered. Little tyrant ran out immediately. Wu Ming and Yin Tong looked at each other and quickly followed. At the bottom of a cliff, the green-haired woman slowly landed on the ground. She looked at the eerie Heaven Abyss Canyon and licked her sexy red lip. She spoke in a cold and evil voice. The hunt begins. Chapter 69. Wu Ming and Yin Tong had no idea of the danger behind them. Under Little Tyrant's guidance, the two of them kept moving forward. Finally, the two of them arrived in front of a cave. There were many bloodstains on the road, which made Wu Ming and Yin Tong's expressions change slightly. They gradually became serious, and the image of Huang Sanba covered in wounds from the fall appeared in their minds. Nothing must happen to him, Wu Ming whispered. Roar! Before Wu Ming and Yin Tong could enter the cave, a huge brown bear rushed out and met Little Tyrant on the spot, its eyes shining with excitement. Big Bear! Wu Ming looked at the mighty bear, his eyes filled with joy. Brother Wu! Huang Sanba's voice came from the cave. Soon, a young man with dyed yellow hair walked out of the cave, supporting himself against the wall, and stood under the bright moonlight. It was Huang Sanba. He was not dead. Although he was injured, his clothes were full of bloodstains, and one of his arms was hanging limply. He could still move, but there was a lot of blood that was about to dry up. You're okay? That's great. Wu Ming took a deep breath, then relaxed and stood quietly where he was. Huang Sanba swallowed hard and said, I almost died. But Brother Wu and Yin Tong, how did you survive? We? Wu Ming and Yin Tong looked at each other, then told him about the parachute and air cushion. With the parachute cushioning and the air cushion, both of them were wearing combat uniforms, so they were fine, and there were not even scratches on their bodies. However, Wu Ming still remembered the erotic scene of him lying on Yin Tong's body. I see. Fortunately, Yin Tong brought a parachute, otherwise, I might not have been able to see you. Huang Sanba let out a long breath, took some crushed medicine from Mighty Bear, and applied it on his injured arm. How did you survive? Silver, I asked. Huang Sanba glanced at Mighty Bear with a grateful expression and explained, the credit is mainly due to Big Bear. When the two of us fell, we were close to the cliff. There were a lot of trees nearby. Big Bear used his sharp claws to grab the cliff and the trees that extended out to cushion the fall. In this way, we didn't fall too fast. When we reached the bottom of the cliff, there were some trees and rivers, so we saved our lives. At this point, he glanced at his arm. However, the falling process was still quite dangerous. My arm was cut by some gravel, and there was a crocodile beast in the river. With a roll of death, my arm was almost cut off. Hearing that the process was so dangerous, Wu Ming couldn't help but worry. But now, the three of them had at least kept their lives. Those two people should have already left with the Jade Dragon incense. We need to quickly pack up and return to the city. It would be best if we can intercept them before they enter the city. Wu Ming explained his plan. They're dead. Right then, a cold voice came from not far away. The three of them looked towards the source of the voice and saw a tall and slender woman walking over. Although she was wearing a combat suit and a helmet, they could still see her devilish face and her shoulder-length green hair. It's you. Wu Ming didn't sense any danger, but he still felt he had to be on guard against her. Do you know each other? Silver Eye and Huang Sanba both looked at Wu Ming. She came to the pet store and wanted to order evolution food from me. Wu Ming nodded and looked at the green-haired woman. I forgot to introduce myself. I'm an F-level assassin from the Spirit Demon Assassins Guild, codename 007, LV Luo. The green-haired woman didn't hide her identity. It's you. Wu Ming pulled a long face. Both the man in leather who tried to assassinate him and Hong Ying, codename 013, were assassins from the Spirit Demon Guild. They were genuine F-level beast tamers. And now, there was another LV Luo with the codename 007. However, LV Luo had announced her identity. That was strange. Brother Wu, what's the Spirit Demon Assassins Guild? Huang Sanba didn't know about this. It's the Chain Assassins Guild. There's a branch outside our Garan castle. It's said that the president of the branch is a peak E-level beast tamer. He once assassinated a rich man and a D-level beast tamer, Silver Eye explained in a low voice, as if she was afraid. You're well informed. You're indeed a genius beast tamer in the super affordable mall. But this time, I'm not here to kill. LV Luo took off her helmet. Her shoulder-length hair fluttered in the wind, but there was no smell. She was an excellent assassin. She didn't make any sound when she walked. There was no special smell on her. And she was bold. Then why are you here? Wu Ming frowned. The ghost cat had already appeared nearby. It was invisible and could slash LV Luo with its claws at any time. The president of the Garan Castle branch of the Spirit Demon Assassins Guild is my half-brother. He gave an order to find out your identity and assassinate you. LV Luo crossed her arms. There was a poisonous snake entrenched in her arms. She looked at Wu Ming and the others quietly. You're an assassin from the Spirit Demon Guild. Why are you telling us this? Huang Sanba scratched his head, even more confused. Wu Ming and Silver Eye were also confused. LV Luo's actions were basically standing on the opposite side of the Spirit Demon Assassins Guild. She would be executed by the branch president. More importantly, LV Luo and the branch president were half-siblings. Wait, half-siblings? Wu Ming's eyes widened as he thought of something. I'm here this time to talk about a collaboration. LV Luo's face did not smile. She was always cold, like a poisonous snake. Collaboration. I want to compete with my brother for the position of the branch president and take revenge. It's best if I can kill him. LV Luo stated her purpose. Hearing this, Wu Ming's eyes narrowed. It seemed that his guess was right. LV Luo and the branch president of the Spirit Demon Assassins Guild were half-siblings. This was very intriguing. Now that LV Luo had risked her life to come here and announce this secret information, it seemed that she really had a grudge against the branch president. And then, what do you want? Wu Ming asked. I've investigated you. LV Luo lit a cigarette and smoked gently. Then, she raised her head and blew out a ring of smoke that was gradually fading under the bright moonlight. Wu Ming, genius F-level tamer. At the same time, you're also an unregistered F-level beast tamer. Your file is classified as top secret. It seems that the person in Jiaoan City who can concoct superior quality evolutionary food is you. My F-level pet, the rubber viper, needs to evolve in the best direction. Of course, superior quality evolutionary food is necessary. I need you to concoct the F-level defensive food that has already been sold on the market. Of course, I think your strength is much more than that. You must have better evolutionary food. I will buy it from you until my pet reaches the limit of the F-level and meets the requirements to advance to the E-level. In the end, I need to create a pet that is strong enough to help me assassinate the branch president and help me get to the top. LV Luo flicked the cigarette ash and turned around to look at Wu Ming. Chapter 70. Under the Moonlight. LV Luo and Wu Ming looked at each other from a distance. From her eyes, Wu Ming saw coldness and indifference. After a long moment of contemplation, Wu Ming nodded in the end. Sure. His alarm didn't detect any danger, which meant that LV Luo wasn't going to do anything to him. She was sincere enough to take the risk to meet him. Wu Ming was willing to believe in her. As for the grudge between LV Luo and the branch president of the Spirit Demon Assassin Guild, Wu Ming didn't want to get involved. He just wanted to be a pet trainer in peace, to create magical food for evolution, to create powerful pets, and to live a peaceful life. As a gift, I will give you half of this. LV Luo took out a bottle and opened the cap. A rich aroma spread out. It was mouth-watering. Jade Dragon Incense. Wu Ming and the other two were shocked. It turned out that this thing was in LV Luo's hands. It seemed that what she said before was true. The bald and middle-aged beast tamer had been killed. 360 grams of Jade Dragon Incense. Those two squandered 10 grams. I will take 300 grams of the remaining 350 grams. You can have the remaining 250 grams. LV Luo smiled coldly. With that said, she closed the cap and threw the bottle on the ground. She put on her helmet again and disappeared into the dense forest. Little Tyrant picked up the bottle and wagged its tail in front of Wu Ming, as if it was asking for credit. Wu Ming took the bottle of Jade Dragon Incense and found that more than half of it was gone. It seemed that there were only 250 grams left. Who are you calling 250? Wu Ming put away the bottle and looked in the direction that LV Luo left and complained. It's about time. We should go back. Wu Ming said to the other two and was ready to go back. When Redhead died, his backpack seemed to have fallen off the cliff as well. The herbs in it are worth more than $1 million. Let's look for them, Yin Tong suggested. Okay. Wu Ming felt that there was no problem. Relying on Little Tyrant's sense of smell, they searched along the way. After fighting off more than 10 waves of beasts, they arrived at the bottom of a cliff. Creak, creak. The spirit monkey was sprawled in front of a crushed corpse. Its big eyes were filled with despair and sadness. There were many corpses of wild beasts around it. They were all destroyed by its super alloy steel dagger. Creak, creak. The spirit monkey walked over and grabbed the corner of Wu Ming's shirt. It pointed at the red-haired corpse with teary eyes. After all, he was once a teammate. Let's collect his corpse. Wu Ming could tell that the spirit monkey was pleading. He looked at Huang Sanba. Big Bear, dig a hole. The mighty bear immediately dug a hole several meters deep. The group buried the red-haired man's corpse inside and erected a nameless tombstone. Looking at the tombstone, the spirit monkey was in tears. It squatted by the tombstone, holding the super alloy steel dagger in its mouth, and fell asleep quietly with the nameless tombstone in its arms. Sometimes, humans are more affectionate than pets. Wu Ming sighed in a low voice. Those two were killed by LV Luo. You can say that she avenged Redhead. We have found his backpack. When we go back, let's give it to the mighty Chamber of Commerce that Redhead belongs to. Yin Tong suggested. They decided not to take the backpack that was worth 1 million beast coins. Sure. Wu Ming didn't object. They had obtained the most precious Jade Dragon Incense. There were only 250 grams left, but that was still worth 200 million. They didn't care about the materials that were worth 1 million. Besides, taking the backpack would be a psychological burden. The red-haired man's mouth wasn't clean, but as a teammate, he was reliable. He had been serious about his work. It was a pity that he was killed. They carried their backpacks and went to the edge of the cliff. They climbed up the slope of a small valley and finally arrived at the top of the cliff. They saw the bodies of the middle-aged beast tamer and Zhuoshandiao. When they arrived at the parking spot on the mountain, they saw the bodies of the bald beast tamer and lone wolf. They had been tortured and tortured. They looked miserable. This is what you get for killing your teammates. Huang Sanba spat at the bald man's corpse. The latter opened his eyes at once. His pupils had turned purple and were glowing as if he had been possessed. *T, there is a ghost. Huang Sanba stepped back in fear. Roar! The bald man's corpse stood up mechanically. He twisted his neck and opened his mouth, revealing his fangs as if he had turned into a zombie. Wu Ming used his insightful eye at once. Status: possessed. Remarks: possessed by a rank F smoke enchanted beast and turned into a rank F zombie. Possesses a rank F talent, fangs and a rank F defense. This is a zombie possessed by a smoke enchanted beast. Get out of the way, Wu Ming reminded hurriedly. Big bear, slap it to death. Huang Sanba jumped behind the Herculean bear in fright and hurriedly gave the order. Roar! The mighty bear pounced forward and slapped with 10 tons of force. Even if the bald zombie had a rank F defense, it was still cracked open. Whoosh! A ball of purple flames flew out from the cracks on the zombie's body and quickly merged with Lone Wolf's corpse in the distance. Awoh! Lone Wolf's eyes glowed purple as he came back to life. The mighty bear landed a heavy blow with its paw, breaking its bones and causing it to fall to the ground. Woof, woof, woof! Little Tyrant rushed forward. Its body expanded into a Cerberus. The 3 dog heads spat out blazing flames at the same time, burning the ball of purple light into ashes. Clang! A purple crystal the size of a thumb fell to the ground. Wu Ming picked it up and used his insightful eye to look at its information. Type: Pet Crystal, a potential. Rank E. Note: use 100 evolution points to hatch the pet crystal and turn it into a brand new young smoke demon beast. It has the rank E innate talent of possession puppet and rank E innate talent of charm. This is a good treasure. Wu Ming's eyes lit up. Brother Wu, what is this? Huang Sanba asked. Pet crystal. It can hatch into a young smoke demon beast. It has the rank E innate talent of growth, Wu Ming explained. Since it was going to hatch in the future, it was fine to say it now. It was just that no one knew that he was using evolution points to hatch it. Wu Ming pretended to check on the bald Beastmaster and Lone Wolf's corpses, but in reality, he secretly converted 35 evolution points. He took his equipment and removed the bushes covering the car to find his own car. Destroy the other cars. Wu Ming checked and did not find any treasures. He let the mighty bear push the other 4 cars down the cliff and into Heaven Abyss Canyon. In the end, the group got into the car and left. Finally, we can go back to the city. Wu Ming sat in the front passenger seat and looked at the bright moon outside the window. He heaved a sigh of relief. He turned around and saw Yin Tong, who had taken off her combat uniform and was only wearing a pair of tight-fitting denim shorts. He noticed that her beautiful legs were very white under the moonlight, to the point that they were dazzling. What are you looking at? Yin Tong asked suddenly. I'm looking at your legs. I have to say, your legs are even whiter than Su Qianqian's. Wu Ming said without thinking. Then, he looked into Yin Tong's murderous eyes and quickly shut his mouth. Chapter 71. You old pervert. Yin Tong spat and stepped on the accelerator. The modified car spurted out a beautiful tail flame as it sped toward the Garan castle in the distance. There were no obstacles on the way. The car finally stopped in front of the pet store at midnight. Through the glass door, Wu Ming saw someone lying on the counter. He took a closer look and realized that it was Wan Xiu. She didn't go back to the apartment. She had been waiting at the pet store. Wu Ming was touched. He tiptoed out of the car, opened the door quietly, and walked into the lobby. Only then did Wu Ming notice that Zuma Mei had fallen asleep on the couch. Huang Sanba and the mighty bear saw the pickup truck outside. They knew that Zuma Mei was there as well. So, they tiptoed into the pet store. Catch the thief. Right then, they heard a shrill female voice outside the pet store. Thief! Wan Xiu and Zuma Mei opened their eyes in a daze. They saw Wu Ming and Huang Sanba. At first, they were surprised. They were on the same side. Where did the thief come from? Wait, Brother Wu is back? The next second, Wan Xiu threw herself at Wu Ming and hugged his waist. She burst into tears. Brother Wu, you're finally back. We've been waiting for you for 2 days. We thought you wouldn't come back. Wu Ming patted Wan Xiu's shoulder and held her gently. He lifted her chin with one hand and said with a smile, I'm back now, aren't I? With that said, Wu Ming turned around and looked at the cold beauty standing outside the door. He said grumpily, Zhang Okeyun, who are you calling a thief? You came back in the middle of the night. Aren't you thieves? Zhang Okeyun stood outside the door with her arms crossed. She was the one who shouted that there was a thief. However, now that she had bought this section of the street, there were not many people nearby, so even if she screamed until her throat was hoarse, not many people would hear her and it would not cause a disturbance. What's wrong with you? Wu Ming felt speechless. He really wanted to press Zhang Okeyun onto the sofa and spank her perky butt. Where have you been these days? Why didn't you take me with you? Zhang Okeyun walked into the pet store with her hands on her hips and sat down on the couch. Zuma Mei's eyes were still drowsy. She rubbed her forehead and said bitterly, Why are you guys arguing in the middle of the night? Hubby, you're back? When she saw Huang Sanba, she quickly jumped into his arms. We made a trip to the Heavenly Abyss Canyon. Wu Ming told him their destination. As for the process, he didn't say anything. Why didn't you take me with you when you went to such a dangerous place? Zhang Okeyun was unhappy. Remember to take me with you next time you go on such an activity. You're too fragile. I can't afford to pay for your injuries. Wu Ming waved his hand at once to dispel Zhang Okeyun's idea. Zhang Okeyun crossed her legs. Because Wu Ming was standing right in front of her, Wu Ming caught a glimpse of her naked body. Red. Wu Ming blinked. What do you mean by red and black? Zhang Okeyun waved her hand. The next second, her beautiful face changed color. She slapped Wu Ming's leg. Pervert! I didn't do anything. Wu Ming was even more speechless. He was standing at the right place and looking at Zhang Okeyun from the right angle. Was he wrong? Rumble, someone's stomach started growling. I'm so hungry. Huang Sanba rubbed his stomach. Zuma Mei quickly climbed down from his body. She rummaged in the kitchen but found that there was nothing to eat. Let's go for supper. It's my treat, Wu Ming said, but we just came back from the Heavenly Abyss Canyon. We're a little dirty. Let's take a shower first. Supper? Okay. Zhang Okeyun's red lips curled up. She continued to sit on the sofa. I want to take a shower too. Huang Sanba looked around. Because Wu Ming was in the bathroom, he could only wait. Clang. Zhang Okeyun threw the keys on the table and pointed to the next room. The renovation next door has just been completed. You can take a shower there. It's my treat. Thank you, Mr. Zhang. Huang Sanba knew that Zhang Okeyun had bought all the stores nearby. Therefore, he took out some clothes from his backpack and walked over with Zuma Mei, grinning. Then, Zhang Okeyun and Wan Xiu heard some noises that made them blush. Hooligan! Pa! I shouldn't have lent them the bathroom. Zhang Okeyun gritted her teeth in anger. Half an hour later, they walked out of the pet store. The pickup truck is big enough. The 5 of us should be fine, Zuma Mei said. Xiu, you take my car. Let Wu Ming and the others take the pickup. Zhang Okeyun pulled Wan Xiu and walked out. Soon, a super sports car with a price tag of 8 million appeared in a store. Zhang Okeyun gave Wu Ming, who was standing on the bed of the pickup. Next time we meet, I will spank you. Wu Ming patted her butt. Zhang Okeyun gnashed her teeth in anger. Boom. The 2 cars stepped on the accelerator and drove toward the snack stall that was a few kilometers away. The snack stall. It was a spacious street. Young people would gather here before nightfall to eat barbecue or spicy hot pot. Occasionally, there would be sounds that would make people blush. Boom! The arrival of the super sports car attracted the attention of hundreds of people on the street. They all looked up and saw Jang Ok-yun pulling Won Si-yu out of the car. The two of them were the best on the street, both in terms of figure and appearance. Rich ladies. Several young people's eyes lit up as they surrounded them. Hey, pretty lady, I have booked the presidential suite of Shunghua Hotel for a year. Once we are full, I will take you two there to have some fun? As soon as the few youths came up, they asked with ill intentions. Get lost. Jang Ok-yun extended her hand and the water spirit appeared in her palm. Using the shape-shifting talent, the water spirit turned into a 2-meter-tall translucent giant. She lifted the young people up and threw them into the garbage. Hiss! She is a beast tamer. Don't mess with her. The people around stepped back. Some people were going to strike up a conversation with her, but seeing Jang Ok-yun's ferocious behavior, they gave up on that unrealistic idea. TSK, how violent! Wu Ming stood on the bed of the pickup truck. He and the mighty bear rested their hands on the roof to enjoy the breeze. They happened to see Jang Ok-yun teaching those young people a lesson. Jang Ok-yun had the shape-shifting water spirit protecting her. No matter how strong an average person was, they wouldn't be able to do anything to her. If they wanted to do anything to her, it would take at least 2 or 3 F-level or elite-level beast tamers working together. Boss, 5 people, a bear, and a puppy. Please give us a room. There is more barbecue here. We can eat it anyway. Wu Ming patted the boss's shoulder and said with a smile. Okay. The boss glanced at Jang Ok-yun and then looked at the huge mighty bear. He was so scared that he kept swallowing his saliva and nodded. Chapter 72. In a private room, Wu Ming, Won Si-yu, Jang Ok-yun, Huang Sanba, and Zuma Mei were seated. Mighty Bear and Little Tyrant were squatting on the floor. The boss was cooking. In less than 10 minutes, the first plate of skewers was served. It smells so good. Huang Sanba rubbed his stomach and picked up a skewer of barbecued meat. He fed Zuzime a mouthful before taking a bite himself. Showing off their affection? Jang Ok-yun saw this and picked up a skewer. She took a bite and passed it to Won Si-yu. Wu Ming was the last one left. He blinked as he felt that the 4 of them were targeting him. Thus, he took out 2 skewers and took a bite of it himself. Then, with one on the left and one on the right, he handed the skewers to the little tyrant and the gigantic bear. Dear bosses, this is the roasted kidney. The restaurant owner brought over another dish. I'm so fierce, I don't need to eat this. Huang Sanba laughed. He hugged Zuma Mei and looked at her. Don't you think so? Tui. Jang Ok-yun picked up 2 skewers of roasted kidney and threw them into Wu Ming's bowl. Then, she raised her head proudly and looked at the ceiling without saying a word. Won Si-yu did not say a word. However, she also picked up a skewer of roasted kidney and quietly placed it in Wu Ming's bowl. Her meaning was clear. Wu Ming looked at the roasted kidney in his bowl and frowned. What the hell is this? He was very depressed but still ate it. What he could not finish was given to Mighty Bear and Little Tyrant. Come, have some beer. The boss brought over a box of beer. Wu Ming grabbed Little Tyrant's paw and was about to perform a dog paw opening. However, he used too much force and cut the entire beer bottle in half. Ha ha ha, the few of them laughed. This was a joy that came from the bottom of their hearts. Wu Ming put down the beer bottle and listened to the familiar laughter. It was as if he had returned to the past when he had supper with his classmates. The past was vivid in his mind. Looking at the 4 people around him, he suddenly felt that after he had transmigrated to a different world, he had gradually walked into a new life where he could have supper and play with friends. I'll open the beer bottle. Huang Sanba was strong and his physique was also very good. He was even stronger than the special forces. He picked up the beer bottle and with a light clasp, he removed the beer bottle. The few of them drank beer and ate skewers to their heart's content. An hour later. Boss, the bill. The total is $3,780. Here's $4,000. Keep the change. Looking at the $4,000 extra in his card, the boss stared at the backs of Wu Ming and the others as they left. He found it unbelievable. So, there are also people with good temperaments among the beast tamers. The boss exclaimed. Looking at Wu Ming and the others who were about to open the car door, the boss plucked up his courage and kindly reminded them, "Bosses, don't drive when you're drinking. Don't drink when you drive." Right. Huang Samba slapped his head and said to Mighty Bear, "Big Bear, carry the car back." Without saying anything, Mighty Bear carried the pickup truck and the sports car on its shoulders and walked behind Wu Ming and the others to Nanwan Street. What great strength! If I had such a ferocious pet, I would drive my car out for drinks every day. Then, I would encourage my friends to drive their cars as well. Then, I would be able to let my pet carry the car while they stared at me like idiot. People on the street were talking about it. Under the dim yellow light, the group chatted as they walked. "Wu Ming, am I pretty?" Zhang Okyun asked boldly, with one hand on Wu Ming's shoulder and the other pointing at her blushing cheek. "Yes, you are. But you are also unruly." Wu Ming had drunk some wine as well. Under the influence of alcohol, he slapped Zhang Okyun's buttock. To his surprise, his palm was numb. How pleasurable! Zhang Okyun pinched Wu Ming's waist and pouted. "Did you slap my butt? That's nothing. I want to kiss you." Under the influence of alcohol, Wu Ming looked at Zhang Okyun, who was blushing. Then, he pressed her against the wall and kissed her hard in front of everyone. The numbing sensation hit their hearts. Wu Ming and Zhang Okyun both had a subtle reaction. This. Zuma Mei and Huang Samba stared at the scene with wide eyes. Wan Xiu looked at the two kissing passionately. She bit her lip and lowered her head without saying a word. After a long time, their lips parted. Zhang Okyun sobered up a lot. She realized that Wu Ming had kissed her for 3 minutes. She immediately slapped Wu Ming's face. "Ah, you pervert!" she shouted but didn't continue to hit him. Wu Ming grabbed her hand and sobered up a lot. He said, "F***ck, I kissed you? I thought it was CU." Hearing this, Wan Xiu blushed. She was surprised. "So, Brother Wu mistook Zhang Okyun for me. That means, Brother Wu likes me, right?" Wan Xiu's breathing quickened. Huang Samba and Zuzime sucked in a breath of cold air. They looked at each other and realized that something was wrong. TSK, this is incredible." The couple gave each other a teasing smile. They didn't know that a strange figure was watching them from a few hundred meters away. "I'm codename 008 Black Dog. I'm following the target. They're drunk and unconscious. It's night now, perfect for an assassination. Should I kill the target?" The strange figure held a phone and sent a voice message. "Kill the target." A moment later, a cold voice came from the phone. Whoosh! Black Dog immediately merged with his pet and turned into a half-human, half-dog ferocious beast. At a speed of dozens of meters per second, he pounced at Wu Ming from the alley. However, before he could appear in the alley, he suddenly fell to the ground. In the darkness, the netherworld cat revealed itself and wiped its bloody claws on the black dog's body, wiping the blood off. It then licked the blood off gracefully. Finally, it let out a cry and went back into stealth mode, disappearing from sight. 3 minutes later, a woman in black tights appeared in the alley. He killed Black Dog without a sound. It seems that the target does have a level E beast tamer protecting him in secret. The woman in tights looked in the direction Wu Ming went and took out her phone. "Hello, is this the boss? Black Dog is dead. The target's hidden protector is too strong. In terms of strength, he might be on par with you. Seduce him. Try to get him to talk." "Yes." The woman in tights looked in the direction Wu Ming went and remembered the word seduce. that the boss mentioned. She frowned, unwilling to give up. She didn't understand. Why would a mere Wu Ming need her to sacrifice herself? She was a top-level assassin in the Spirit Demon Assassin Guild, codename 003, with the name Dark Night Witch. I'll sacrifice myself first. It won't be too late to kill him after I get some information. The Dark Night Witch clenched her teeth and turned into a black shadow, blending into the night. Chapter 73. At the pet store. They lay down on the couch and fell asleep. The next morning, Jang Okyun sobered up. She remembered how Wu Ming kissed her on the street. She covered her face with her hands. She felt she had a fever. Stop it! Jang Okyun darted a look at Wu Ming, who was lying on the couch. She opened the door angrily and drove the sports car back to her villa. Not long after, Wu Ming, Huang Sanba, Zuma Mei, and Wan Xiu woke up one after another. Wan Xiu handed a glass of water to Wu Ming. Her heart was pounding. Brother Wu, have some water. After what happened the night before, she realized that she was becoming more and more afraid to face Wu Ming. She was like a worried deer, afraid that it would be eaten by Wu Ming, the ferocious tiger. When she was in the pet store, she would keep her head down out of habit. Well, thank you, Xiu. Wu Ming took the glass and accidentally touched Wan Xiu's soft hand. It was smooth to the touch, like the egg white of a cooked chicken. Ah! Wan Xiu let go of his hand as if she had been electrocuted. Bang! The glass shattered on the floor. I'm sorry. I'll clean it up right away. Wan Xiu went to get a broom at once. She lowered her head and her heart was pounding. She hurried to clean up the broken glass. That girl, Wu Ming heaved a sigh as he watched Wan Xiu walk away. It seemed that last night had been quite a thrilling experience. When Wan Xiu came back, the group of people started another boring day. At night, Wan Xiu was the first to get off work. She ran away like a frightened rabbit, leaving Wu Ming with a graceful back view. When the girl ran away in fear, her hips swayed, creating the most beautiful scene on the street. Brother Wu will be leaving first. Zuma Mei and Huang Sanba jumped into the pickup truck. The mighty bear climbed into the back of the truck, waved at Wu Ming and sped off. Under the night sky, Wu Ming was the only one left in the pet store. Sitting on the sofa, he had already washed up and was watching TV. Dong dong dong. There was another knock on the door. Wu Ming looked over. A woman in black tights stood at the door. The scene was similar to when LV Luo appeared a few days ago. Assassin. Wu Ming reacted instantly. However, he did not act rashly to alert the enemy. Who are you looking for? Wu Ming opened the door and stood a meter away from the woman, sizing her up. The woman had an explosive figure. The curve of her chest was very impressive. Her hips were also very perky. She had long legs and a perfect figure. Her face was charming and seductive. One look at her could make people feel hot all over. Wu Ming quietly used the Eye of Insight. Name: Yi Sanyang. Identity: top female assassin of the Spirit Demon Assassination Guild, Garan Castle Branch. Code 003. Nickname: Night Witch. Beast level: Peak F-level Beast Tamer. A pet: Peak F-level Night Witch, F-level Seduction, F-level Interrogation, F-level Speed, F-level Sharp Claws, F-level Silent Night. This was a peak F-level pet with 5 F-level talents, especially the F-level Seduction and F-level Interrogation. Once used on a man, he would definitely be addicted and inadvertently reveal the deepest secrets in his heart. However, Wu Ming had the system. He was automatically immune to F-level Seduction and F-level Interrogation. They could not hurt him at all. Handsome, I'm technician number 23 that Huang Sanba picked for you. I hope you like it. Yi Sanyang secretly used F-level Seduction. Her body was emitting a terrifying charm and a faint fragrance. Any man who smelled it would immediately be addicted. Wu Ming's acting was very good. Although he was not seduced, His hands were already misbehaving. Handsome, let's go upstairs. Yi Sanyang's hands wrapped around Wu Ming's neck. Her body's impressive curves hit him in the face. Wu Ming was a little out of breath. He immediately carried her and went to the second floor. The sound of heavy breathing gradually spread out. Little Tyrant squatted on the ground and looked on curiously. The ghost cat sat on the bedside table, maintaining its invisibility. It was licking its claws. Its movements were elegant. Its cold eyes reflected the two entangled figures. Wu Ming felt very good. During the process, Yi Sanyang moved closer to his ear and whispered, "Handsome, what do you do? Why are you so good?" "I'm a beast tamer." Wu Ming pretended to be tricked. He knew that Yi Sanyang had used F-level interrogation. At this time, in order to not give himself away, he had to answer whatever she asked immediately. "Then, you should know a lot of formulas, right?" Yi Sanyang asked again. Not many. Just tens of thousands," Wu Ming said. Yi Sanyang's delicate body trembled. Tens of thousands? So many. She was very confident in her F-level seduction and interrogation talent. She was sure that Wu Ming was telling the truth. She could not help but be shocked. Then, handsome, what kind of powerful people are behind you? Yi Sanyang asked again after a moment of enjoyment. I have an F-level beast tamer, a D-level beast tamer, a B-level beast tamer, and an A-level beast tamer. Apart from these, I know a severely injured S-level pet. Unfortunately, it hasn't recognized its master yet. Since it was an act, Wu Ming began to brag. This is terrifying. Yi Sanyang felt as if her heart was hit by a meteorite. She was very shocked. Behind this handsome and durable man, there was such a terrifying background? It seemed that the Spirit Demon Assassination Guild had provoked someone they could not afford to provoke. They had to send this news back immediately to attract the attention of the president. An hour later. Handsome, if you are satisfied with my service, remember to give me a 5-star rating. Yi Sanyang, who was dressed neatly, threw a flying kiss to Wu Ming. She twisted her slender waist and gradually disappeared into the night. Looking at her back as she left, Wu Ming gradually raised the corner of his mouth. His eyes were full of ridicule. As expected of the night witch. Very smooth. Wu Ming felt that he had earned a lot after getting a free ride and spreading false information. He closed the glass door, took a shower, changed the wet sheets, and then lay down and fell into a deep sleep. An hour later. At the Spirit Demon Assassination Guild. President, I have information. The night witch, Yi Sanyang, walked into the hall with her slender waist. She bent down and said to the president, who was sitting on the leather sofa with his back to everyone and smoking a cigar. A certain assassin who passed by looked at the snow-white chest of the night witch and felt his mouth go dry. He could not help but swallow his saliva. Then, he hit his head on a concrete pillar. Ouch! The assassin rubbed his forehead, glared at Yi Sanyang fiercely, and ran away with his tail between his legs. At this moment, the president said in a low voice, "In the future, don't use your pet's talent on your own people." Yes. Yi Sanyang nodded quickly. You claimed to have obtained information. Then, tell me, what shocking information did you get through your sacrifice? The president continued. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.